Could Acid Ace beat Akuma? We rarely see Mega Man characters fighting anything besides other Navis. So, exactly how much danger are you in if Base.exe is rampaging down your street? Could you fight off Ash to secure the booty? I'm going to break down where the games indicate all of the Mega Man cast rank and power, using common sense and extrapolation to fill in the gaps. I'm not ranking every enemy, Robot Master, or Maverick individually though. Robot Masters and Mavericks are all likely comparable in power. I'm also skipping characters from the more obscure games like Rockman Strategy, but on the surface, I think the characters from it would be near duo level. Regarding the ranking ratings, I'm not ranking individual attacks, and Mega Man is a combo-heavy series. I'm ranking how much destruction would a character likely cause before we could stop them, assuming we had 8 hours notice they were going to spawn and attack somewhere on Earth. Most individual attacks in the classic series would range between wall and city block level. Defense ratings are what level of damage would be required to one-shot. Starting off Classic, let's put all the Classic and X humans save Wily and Light in H tier. These are just regular people like you and me. They are the strongest biological creature on Earth, but still have every human limitation. If you couldn't take on a robot, they can't. I'm going to rank Classic Mechanoids in F tier, with car level durability and with house leveling power. There's little information on what they are made of. It could be something as strong as titanium or as weak as aluminum. I think a small group of humans or one soldier could take down a mechanoid, and most mechanoids could cause serious injury to a human, or level a house in just a few minutes. Though, like everyone else I'm going to cover, some of these attacks could have residual effects such as igniting a forest or frosting crops. That's not reliable though. I think it is safe to say each set of Robot Masters are comparable in strength, having mostly wall-level attacks. But like most machines, the newest set is likely strongest. Specs are scarce for them, but they are likely made of some kind of titanium, a metal capable of only denting to police-grade bullets, at base. They also have an ability to command basic mechanoids. I'm going to put them top of F, with semi-truck level durability, and by themselves, city block level offense, with their mechanoids town level. I think they could level a coffee shop in 1 or 2 hits, and it would take a mob of humans to overpower one with casualties. This might be controversial to people who consider Roll their waifu, but I think Mega Man's twin sister and occasional love interest would go in F behind the collective Robot Masters. Roll could take down a reinforced wall, and it would take a small mob with brooms to put her down. Sorry, Roll doesn't have many canon feats, and if it's any consolation, I'd put Base Rock here as well. I don't think the powered-up alternate character campaigns are canon to character strength or presence. If you insist they are, bump her up to full mob of people with brooms. To save time, let's talk about all the pets together, then individually. Despite all, except Reggae, likely being durable, I see them being able to solo small groups of mechanoids, but not Robot Masters. Reggae having no combat feats has to go behind them. I see Eddie landing just above the mechanoids, because he can generate bombs. But that's it. Rush next given his agility, followed by Tango, who is supposedly invulnerable. I think they are meaning when he spins, no current tech can harm him, not that he could have survived the shuttle mission to destroy Eurasia. The spinning is an energy-dependent ability anyway, so he's toast when he runs out. Above him, I'm putting Beat, because he can fly and destroy most mechanoids in one hit. But I don't see him taking many hits either. Finally, I think Treble is the strongest pet. Now we come to Otto. In Mega Man 8, he used a cannon, so I'm going to put him right ahead of the mechanoids, and before Eddie in F. He's got no other feats. Sorry all 17 Otto fans, he probably can't solo Goku. Dr. Wily as a man might be fairly inconsequential, but in his machines I'd put him top of F, with town level offense or city with mechanoids and re-entry level defense. For the Star Droids, I'm going to put them ahead of the Robot Masters. They are supposed to be really powerful, but haven't displayed any feats to make them stand out. They couldn't even survive re-entry, so same ratings, but they get benefit of the doubt on edging out the Robot Masters. The only exceptions being Dark Moon and Sunstar, who I will put behind the Wily machines, but more distant. This may be controversial, but I'm putting the Yellow Devil and E ahead of the Wily machines with small city level offense, and enough defense to shrug off Stinger missiles. Assuming its core is protected by its jelly. Maybe Wily should make his next machine a devil. I think the MegaMan killers should go just ahead of the Star Droids. They are basically peak Robot Masters, with Anchor able to absorb and fire shots back twice as hard, Punk copying Tango and rolling around invincibly, and Ballade being aggressive. So I'd say they edge out the Star Droids. Now Quint and MegaMan Shadow, I'm putting right ahead of Reggae. Yes, they are MegaMan, but they are MegaMan from a future where Wily stopped his antics and they're trash. Maybe Wily was drinking and screwed up modifying them, or they just didn't get as strong from fighting him, but they are unbelievably weak and non-threatening. I can't find anything to highball them over. No, I feel like this is already a highball. I guess MegaMan Shadow could defeat a Mechanaloid or Robot Master if it was malfunctioning. Quint would probably defeat himself. I'll give Shadow door level power and Quint shrub level. Both get pickup truck rated defenses. We've been staying pretty low on the tier list, haven't we? Let's look into a few of the strongest characters of this era. Ra Thor is the most powerful Robot Master in the classic era, created in cooperation with Dr. Wily and Ra-Mu, or Ra-Moon. So I'm going to put him in D with medium city level offense and immunity to re-entry durability. He's supposed to be multiple times more durable and faster than the Robot Masters, and could likely make X-Series characters sweat. The next robot is going to dethrone Ra Thor's spot in D. New Yellow Devil is a perfected version created by Ra-Mu. Its offensive feats are scant with few comparisons. Let's say it is tactical nuke level for now, but it can absorb all energy-based attacks. So, full nuke immunity? The only thing we've seen hurt this thing is a Power of Friendship charge shot. So I guess it's immune to everything except friendship. Nah, I see most of the X-Series matching or stopping it, even if it's just chucking things at it. Now Ra-Mu, the genius alien computer. I don't know where to put, because its defenses are pretty lacking. I guess it should be in B rank? A double buster shot of friendship destroyed it like New Devil. That's not very strong, unless it was also just super effective because Ra-Mu is weak to friendship. We know it's at least around re-entry durability. Ra-Mu's other feats are impressive though. It can create unlimited robots seemingly out of thin air, and has knowledge far beyond humanity. It also brought violence and aggression to humanity, just by landing on Earth. If it got serious, it would be unstoppable for Classic Era. In our world, it could quickly lead to world collapse. Potentially planetary genocide level offense. I think it's a toss-up if we'd win. Now we can get to the series protagonists, MegaMan, Protoman, Base, and Duo. We know a lot more of what these four are capable of. All four have a variable weapon system, instantly boosting their ranking. They each also have cutting-edge or alien weaponry and armor, and receive regular upgrades. The terrestrial heroes are all likely made of Ceratanium, a titanium ceramic alloy Dr. Light developed that is significantly more durable than regular titanium while being as light as ceramics. I don't think that is even close to possible, but this is a work of fiction, so... All four are also equipped with a barrier system that protects them from energy-based attacks or damage. This is what the energy bar in game measures. We can infer this provides minimal protection from non-energy based damage. So Ceratanium is likely susceptible to piercing from things like sturdy spikes or crushing ceilings. Maybe it's a mix of titanium and aluminum sandwiched between two layers of ceramics. It doesn't really matter how it was achieved. I don't think it'll be too controversial to say Duo is the strongest of the four, and should go just below Ra Thor. I think even with his Justice powers, he'd also need a Power of Friendship boost to destroy Ra Thor. but we actually have a good idea of these four's damage output because of him. You see, Duo, severely damaged and with a failing barrier from fighting an evil space robot, barely survived atmospheric re-entry. During re-entry, a celestial body's surface can be subjected to over 4,500 degrees of heat. That's no small feat, and immediately puts him ahead of the star droids. Here's the thing though, MegaMan's solar buster shots can deplete his barrier, indicating they are approaching re-entry levels in power. No wonder few mechanoids can survive more than a few hits. Imagine a 4,000 degree baseball hitting your car. It'll only take a few to total it. That being said, we are talking a much stronger MegaMan than in the earlier games. Proto Man originally fired solar shots too, but had a defective energy core. Dr. Light offered to replace it, but Proto Man feared he would die if he was ever powered off, and a new Proto Man would replace him. So he refused until he collapsed and Dr. Wily found and modified his core to use nuclear energy instead. So Proto Man is firing nuclear shots comparable to MegaMan's. Finally, Base uses a unique and unlimited energy source called Basenium. I'd wager some sort of energy crystal that can hold near unlimited power, or some kind of quantum reactor that can generate energy from outside our plane. So of these four, I'm putting Proto Man ahead of Yellow Devil. Above him, Base. Then MegaMan on account of him now having double gear. All three I think are small to medium city level offensively, and elite tank level defensively. Their main advantage over Yellow Devil is their agility, adaptability, and high intelligence. Then Duo, I'm giving medium city level offense, and Supra re-entry durability. Just barely above Proto Man, I will put King, who is kind of just a souped up mix of the MegaMan killers and Base, or a Prototype Zero. King is not only frighteningly close to the self-awareness and intelligence of a Reploid, he's equipped with a shield that can absorb energy-based attacks and return them at double power, like Anchor. Has a deadly axe, and is capable of fusing with his tank and plane. I see him squeezing past Yellow Devil, able to survive re-entry level attacks, and decimate small cities when fused to his vehicles. But his intelligence allowed him to recruit an army that could destroy larger cities. I doubt anybody's clamoring for these, but what about Plum, Repo, and Chest? They are obviously S tier, right? No, Repo and Chest appear to be non-combat mechanoids, so I don't see them beating any other mechanoids, so right above Quint. Plum appears to be a robot master, but also not combat focused, so I'm going to place her just below Roll. Finally, we have Super MegaMan and Base. Forms achieved when they fuse with their dogs, gaining dramatically increased power and the ability to fly. Not much if any defense boost though. I see Super Base being the stronger of the two, with MegaMan at medium city level offense and Base at large city offense, but both below Duo. Wait, aren't we forgetting someone besides the non-canon DOS characters or the cast of the Taiwan-only MegaMan strategy, or the game where MegaMan saved astronauts? Astronauts. The evil alien robot! Given that Duo won the battle and killed the robot while in re-entry, it's not stronger than Duo, but I'd be surprised if MegaMan or Base could put up much of a fight alone. So let's put it top of E. Most individual attacks in the X series would range between wall and town level. Defense ratings are what level of damage would be required to one-shot a character. Last time we put all Classic and X humans in H tier because they are just ordinary people. I think X through ZX Mechanoids should go just below Proto Man in E, with town level offense and tank level defense. It would be a much closer fight than their Mechanoids, but I think the Classic Quartet could take down one or two X Mechanoids each. I'm putting General Reploids in F, just ahead of the Wily machines with small building offense and elite tank durability. They aren't going to do that much, but I wouldn't advise getting into a fist fight with one, even if you are a cyborg. Rebel Force Fodder, I'm putting ahead of Super Base in E. They are military trained and ride armor certified Reploids. I give them medium city level offense, re-entry level durability, and advanced tactical adaptability. I don't think they are crazy either, They aren't super customized with fancy stuff, but a platoon could lock down a large city with ease. Now the boss Mavericks, like the Robot Masters, I believe get a little bit stronger each game, so I'd bet on Burn Rooster over Sting Chameleon any day. But collectively, I'd put them in D below New Devil with large city offense and bomb shelter durability. If you're Duo, you might want to back off and not fight any of them. Maybe Duo and one of the other heroes could take down a Maverick together. But they'd be better leaving it to the Hunters. To be clear, this also includes Wild Django, Silverhorn, Mach Gentra, Mad Nautilus, Incentus, Depth Dragon, Rafflesia, and Duckbill Mole. What about Armorless X? I'm putting him above Repliforce Fodder in E, medium city level offense, bomb shelter defense, and genius level combat instincts. I'm sorry guys, X isn't that impressive out of the box when it comes to combat, but he makes up for it with his advanced thinking and potential as a variable.
You called me X. Is that my name?
That's right. It's a variable. It represents limitless potential.
Nah, there's nothing that can make him one of the strongest characters. Right before Proto Man, I'm putting Bodos, the mediocre bard. He's possibly the most underwhelming boss in the X series, with just basic lasers and sonic pulses, and the ability to summon junky bits that are easily washed away by Silverhorn. City block offense and elite tank defense. Unfortunately, I think Cinnamon might struggle against our Goober King Bodos. She's not combat focused, but would be able to easily heal and regenerate weapon energy in her hyper. But I'm going to put her just a hair above him for that healing and status effect infliction. If she can pull anyone in, Bodos is done, because the healing and regeneration is a field. Small building offense, elite tank defense, with healing fields and near unlimited weapon energy. Shadow is basically just Walmart Brand Zero with a taser, so I'm not giving him the dignity of C. No, he goes right above Rothor. Medium city offense, typical bomb shelter durability for combat Reploids. I'm not going to keep saying that. Combat Reploids are bomb shelter durability unless otherwise specified. I'm going to drop Redips, top of D, and Great Redips at the top of C. Base Redips small city offense, which is smaller than the Mavericks, but he obliterates that smaller space. Great Redips I think is large metro level, with space station defense, but he's stuck in C because he's immobile. Get this guy moving and he could be planetary genocide level offense, though I think he'd restrain himself. I'm putting Scarface between the Redips, but in C. He looks like Target Brain Zero, but he's fast with lots of stunning spread attacks. I rate him large city offense with bursts of flicker level speed. Ferrum is a whip-wielding menace who could create clones with comparable offense to her. She goes ahead of Scarface, and I'm torn if she could be small metro level. I think large city for sure. Epsilon has it all. Tons of crowd control options, brutal, obliterating attacks, and the ability to heal. Medium metropolitan area offense easy, with regenerating health and basic combat Reploid defenses. Great Redips may have more potential, but being immobile, I have to give the top of C to Epsilon. If only a band of Reploids didn't coordinate to eke out a win, we might have seen Epsilon humiliate Great Redips. Spider, I'm putting ahead of base Redips, even though we know he killed Spider. Spider has a lot of range with his cards, even crowd control. He is easy large city level offense. Marino is deadly in one-on-one, and her best weapons make that one on a crowd. At least large city offense with high survivability, and in hyper mode, prolonged flicker level speed. I'm putting her behind Ferrum, and I might be lowballing her. Her attacks are well beyond wall level. Just the spamming and speed. Behind Redips, I'm ranking Steel Massimo mainly due to his weaker defenses and narrowly focused offenses. He can obliterate an enemy, but not really a crowd, and he's slow. Sorry, but he's medium city. What about the super boss, Ninetales? In addition to constantly healing, he's another crowd controller with some devastating single target attacks, like Annihilator Hitokens. Think Hyper Beam from the Pokemon anime, but exponentially more powerful. He can also shut off his enemy's weapon systems too. Unsatisfied with humiliating his opponents, he often heals or revives them. He fights with honor, even sealing himself underground so weaklings would stop challenging him. If he believed it was his world or ours, though, he might not be so merciful. He's a medium country attack, with that constant healing and unlimited torture potential. He earned his spot at the top of B, and has 8 increasingly weaker brothers, so are the Tails brothers together planetary? Godil, R, Ale, and Nana are all civilian Reploids, so I have to put Ale and Godil just out of the common Reploids. Small building offense for Godil and Ale, small city for R and Nana given R's bird and presumed combat experience, and Nana's proficiency in commanding mechanoloids. All 4 with super re-entry durability, so yeah, the power order I see is Ale because he's crippled, then Godil, then Nana and R go after Bodos. Next up, Command Armor X, who has dramatically increased offense as a base form, as well as weapon energy regeneration. I think just before the Mavericks is a good spot with large city offense. For Zero, he has incredible speed and maneuverability, and he's capable of flickering level speed, especially when overclocked in Black Zero mode. He's a combat genius killing machine. I see him falling between Marino and Ferrum. Easy large city offense, maybe small metro. Zero is kinda scary. Absolute Zero is even more terrifying. Being able to flicker for most attacks and being able to combo them non-stop, we are looking at almost Ninetales level. Small, maybe medium country offense with insane speed and attack rate. This is what Wily had in mind for Zero. X-Fire I'm going to put behind Scarface, mainly because it's focused on decimating a single target, but he can do so repeatedly with fairly good agility. I see large city potential.
They may very well view your limitless evolutionary potential as something to be feared. The name X also carries connotations of danger.
Ultimate Command Armor, though, is up with Absolute Zero. I think Zero is a bit more ridiculous, but launching an entire nation's armory is kinda nuts too. I have to give him small country offense. You think anything we've got is going to work on him reliably, or stand up to him raining missiles down on it? The first armor provides X with a basic ability. The ability to break bricks with his head, like Mario, a defense buff, and an enhanced charge shot. It's really pretty garbo comparatively to other armors. You know, I think I have to put this right after an Armored X. Pretty much the same medium city offense, but a slightly buffed bomb shelter defense, and an innate counter to MegaMan 11's Blockman. Second armor is a bit better, offering an air dash, charge storage, reduced weapon energy consumption, and the ability to see secret passages, and a devastating explosion attack after taking damage. It's basically Crash from Kirby. This is actually a nice combat buff, but I think I have to still keep him behind Shadow with medium city attack. The X-Hunters, they're going right under Yellow Devil with small city offense. They'd be lucky to take out a small city. Heck, Capcom even only sees Violin, the one I could make the best case for small city, as Maverick Hunter base level. Building level. A large well-guarded building, but a building. I think they are lowballing him, confidently. How about this? They are small town offense, not even a city, so I see Sergis as the weakest, even in his tall tank, Agile in the middle, and Violin as the strongest of the 3. Fake Zero, I see falling behind Command Armor X with medium city offense. He's an imitation that hits the key points but just isn't the same, and Aldi Brain Zero. We're not doing third Armor X. We're doing Gold Armor X. This double boosted armor grants X 2 air dashes, a 75% damage reduction, the ability to fire a flurry of 4 times charged buster shots from both hands without charging, though we can charge them, and the ability to see useful items and heal while remaining perfectly still for extended periods. Yeah, that last one is pretty useless, but the rest is good enough I feel confident putting him just ahead of Zero. Small metro with military bunker defenses.
Doctor, I'll use this power to fight for justice, to fight for hope,
Of course you will.
Also, we're skipping 4th armor for ultimate 4th armor. This armor starts by granting 1 air dash, and the ability to hover in the air, have damage, and the ability to turn invincible and Nova Strike dash through enemies every time he touches the ground or a wall. A charge shot that lingers, and infinite or double weapon energy. But we are considering the strongest form, so he has unlimited weapon energy. This is cracked even with the drop in maneuverability and tankability. I see him being comparable, but falling a few hairs short of Absolute Zero, small, maybe medium country offense, and high-grade bomb shelter defenses. This depends a bit on weapons though. I'm considering this with a typical weapon selection. If you carefully selected 8 weapons from across the series, the sky's the limit. The Nightmare Police are not much stronger than the X-Hunters. Bite can charge and grab or use magnets to push you very slowly. They can charge with a sword and bind enemies as well as throw a flashy energy ball. He also owns a shield but refuses to use it because it is big and awkward to hold. I could see Small City for them, but I think even Trash King Bodos would have an advantage. They have a combined fusion form, God Car Machine, that is stronger than either of them alone. Wow. It has terrible mobility though. It could more easily ruin a small city. But I see it just sneaking out past Bodos, but not R or Nana. Our military would take the slow thing down before it could do much more. Doppler, I feel good putting ahead of Base on Armored X, which is medium city attack, with the ability to heal damage when he isn't attacking. Finally, last, and most importantly least, I'm dropping Mac right before Bite. We hardly saw anything from him, but it wasn't impressive. He's a formality for Unarmored X. Double seems appropriate below Fake Zero. He seems very medium city with great agility. There's just no wow factor. Double put everything into crossing X and slaughtering all X's coworkers. The ultimate Reploid armor Iris obtains after consuming Colonel's soul is impervious to damage and can counter any attack with homing mines. But it also flies really slowly. I think Marino and our military could figure it out. So let's put it behind Marino with medium city offenses and space station defenses, aside from the vulnerable core. I'm putting Colonel bottom of C because he's got range, good spammability, ground shockwaves, flicker level movement, and can summon reverse lightning from the floor a few dozen feet around him. Super solid large city fire with great dodging options.
Very well then. I'll spare your life for now.
General is a big, slow guy, but he has great attack options and can create diversions with his detachable hands and energy rings. Plus he's a tactical genius. I see him above double, losing some points for being a big, slow target to train our soldiers on. Falcon Armor X gains the ability to fly invincibly, double weapon energy, reduced damage, and a Giga Crush attack after taking heavy damage. And a new charge shot that goes through walls in exchange for removing special weapon charging. I think that's a stronger Falcon Buster. This is good, but right before Ferrum good. High agility with large city attack. The Gaia armor is all defense, sacrificing speed and movement. It does have damage with a Giga Crush that grants invincibility, powerful but short range attacks that can absorb bullets, immunity to spikes, and the ability to cling to walls. Inferno Reddit seems fair with small city offense and small mountain defenses. This is a weird one to rank. The defenses are excellent, but you can only turtle so long. The Blade Armor provides a weapon energy boost, a long air dash, a weak but lingering Buster, the ability to turn the Buster into a sword for a moment, and reduce damage that lets X release a projectile / Giga Crush. This is the definition of a mixed bag. I might get crap, but I'm struggling to put him above Command Armor X, with large city offense, but kneecapped. Shadow Armor X makes me get why nobody has done this. He can swing sabers extra fast, which is actually pretty good if you don't know how to dash cancel. His Giga Crash, his energy rings that surround him, he loses special weapons in exchange for flinging Shuriken blindly and doing a big slash when charging. He is also immune to spikes, can flip up to the ceiling and cling to walls. I'm sorry, small city offense with amazing agility, right ahead of Blade Armor. The inability to aim the Shurikens is really crippling him here. Spray and Pray just doesn't get you any higher. His one-on-one in agility is carrying him. Can we skip Glide Armor X? No, he can slowly float to the ground now, great for offense and defense. It removes the fall down and lay on the floor for a minute mechanic X7 introduced, but that's useless even considering a version of X not prone to taking dirt naps. It also gives a decent Giga Crush. It increases the item pickup range and adds 3 small homing shots after a charge shot. Behind Evil Robot with you. New Ultimate Armor. Doubles jumping and running speed, halves damage, and gives the ability to heal if paired up. It also grants the lingering charge shot and a Shoryuken. This is pretty good, great agility, but I don't think I can go higher than Gold Armor X. Newer isn't always better. Axel is able to hover and collect and maintain a database of Reploids to transform into at will using A-Trains. At this peak, I'm putting him past Absolute Zero, at least small country offense. His damage potential is outrageous, and his defensive options aren't anything to scoff at either. He can cloak himself and become invisible to the eye or machine detection. I'm only ranking one version of Vile. He doesn't have armors or hyper modes, he just gets rebuilt. I think that Vile MK2 is his strongest build, with many sneaky options to trap his opponents in and out of the right armor, as well as a bit wider arsenal than Vile V. I'm putting him behind Ferrum with his right armor, small metro offense, and small mountain defense. Out of the armor, he's going to drop to below 0, with large city offense and military bunker defenses. If I did Vile V, he'd probably land right behind 0, so they are fairly comparable. You know, let's just put Vile V in anyway. For Sigma, who also gets rebuilt, I'm only ranking one street body and one final form, plus a special extra. I really don't think either of us want me ranking every Sigma body for 30 minutes. I'm most impressed by X3 Sigma, and his ability to spam fireballs that travel up walls, but he also carries a shield. I'm dropping him behind Scarface, with large city attack and military bunker defenses. I'm choosing Gunner and Earth Sigma as the strongest final form, for the absolute span between his 2 bodies and 3 regenerating support heads. Straight above Ninetales. At least medium country offense and 5 military bunkers worth of defense, split 5 ways. If this Sigma showed up in your city, it's too late for you. Finally, I'm putting Sigma Virus top of B for its endurance and existential significance. This is a planetary threat, with viral level defenses. It's like fighting an idea. Dynamo is going below Colonel, and after X-Fire, he has a lot of big attacks, can deflect projectiles, and is agile. Pull X Flicker, he's no ultimate armor. Shadow Devil goes right after the Mavericks. He just isn't on par durability-wise to pass new Yellow Devil, and I have trouble believing he is stronger. Medium City offense with the ability to memorize and copy the forms of other machines. I have no reason to think he's much more durable than regular Yellow Devil. Awakened Zero is a glowing, slightly stronger Berserk Zero, aside from one move that can one-shot Ultimate 4th Armor. I'd say that one attack is small asteroid level, but it needs a lot of time to charge up that attack. Generally, I'm putting him at small country and behind Ultimate 4th Armor. You can make a case the other way around, but Ultimate 4th shouldn't give him enough time to launch that one attack. And if I remember correctly, Ultimate 4th can Nova Strike through it too. How high is Hymax? Gate's Invincible Warrior? He flies and attacks with volleys of energy balls of various sizes. Occasionally he'll engage opponents in physical combat, and has a regenerating energy shield that blocks any attack besides special weapons or armor attacks. On attack alone, I see him as medium metro. We lack a lot of info on the barrier, so I'm going to say it is a regenerating tank level barrier right ahead of Epsilon. Gate is weird, because he's invincible to everything except recoil from his own attacks, which are generated from Zero's remains. It's hard to call how durable he is, especially since Zero is not impervious, unless what he copied has to do with the Zero virus, not Zero the man, Reploid. What we could say is Gate is a mediocre combatant, throwing energy balls one at a time while flying slowly and predictably. His strongest attack is tearing a small dimensional hole, and basically no dodging ability. He may have to be trapped, but that won't be hard for his military. He gets to go right after base Redips. He should have stuck to science. Nightmare Zero is the last X6 character. He's basically just Zero, but really campy with weak projectiles and dyed purple. He's $1.25 to Zero. I'm going to put him behind Shadow. Medium city damage. Red is a dual scythe-wielding arbiter of justice, protecting the world during the events of X7, while X cries all day about having to hurt bad people to protect innocent people. He has potential, with brief flicker level speed, the ability to create multiple tornadoes and clones with flicker, and the ability to counter attacks with homing projectiles. He should be strong, but fights pretty lethargically. That's just his personality, the laid-back underachiever. I see him just edging out Scarface, also with large city offense. If he put his heart into it, he could go higher. This may be another controversial take, but Lumine in base is incomparable to the Angel form. Base Lumine tries to corner you with huge attacks. Angel Lumine throws slow and easy but long patterns to dodge, so I'm giving base Lumine a spot right behind Farron. Small metro offense, the Angel form is a Hail Mary after he already lost. Copy Sigma is highly mobile with big attacks, so I'm going to put him ahead of base Redips with large city attack. Alia, likely a mistranslation of area, is stronger than you think. I'm not talking about Alia mode. Prior to being an operator, Gate Condorant being his fixer, and she single-handedly took down several X6 Mavericks. So she does have combat abilities. This is backstory though, so we don't know the nature of her abilities unless they are the same as Alia mode, so I'm going to put her behind Command Armor X with large city power. Lair and Pallet are also implied to have combat capabilities, through them constantly being associated with the same weapons ever since Lair and Pallet mode. While I don't believe the alternate modes or X-Dive fighters reflect their canon abilities, it reflects they have canon experience with beam sabers and stun pistols, respectively. So I'm putting Lair behind Alia, and Pallet behind her. Cygnus, Douglas, and Lifesaver, as well as Iris, have no known feats. I know I'd never get away with not giving Iris or Cygnus their own spot. I mean, one is the most popular X-Series character to Capcom's absolute confusion. If she and Cygnus got a spot though, someone will ask, where's Douglas? And there would be that one Lifesaver fan too. Cygnus, being a military commander, I'd like to expect has some combat training, so I see him being just above Repliforce fodder. Douglas and Lifesaver, we have to assume are typical non-combat Reploids. But they get their own spots. How about Douglas likely has some weapons, so he goes above, and Lifesaver below because it's illegal to attack medics during war. So he probably has no training or weapons. Having faith warmongers will not further break the law. Also, Lifesaver seems to be a model of a medical Reploid, not a character, so... Now Iris is getting a new tier, Best Girl tier. Like I said, she has no known combat feats aside from riding the ultimate Reploid armor. However, X4 only happened because her brother and boyfriend were fighting over her in the Reploid ethno state she dreamed of.
Let's live together in a world where only Reploids exist.
Iris, there's no world just for Reploid. It's only a fantasy.
Yes, I know, but I wanted to believe it. I wanted to live in a world where only Reploids exist with you.
So she has siren level manipulation powers. If she spawned with desires to destroy the world, most men would probably surrender to her. Similarly, twins, Midi and Techno, ranked together, have no combat feats, so with general Reploids you go. Actually, no, let's put them behind Lifesaver. They look weaker than your average Reploid. Zane I'm putting before Repliforce fodder, because all he does is jump with a sword and spin slowly across the floor with his sword. It's very sad. Small city offense. Now Gimel is much more competent, throwing rapid-fire shuriken, teleporting and trying to drop on people's heads and riding a kite around the battlefield. I think he's earned a spot right before Pallet with medium city offense. Gareth is a spearmaster that throws spears at a pretty good pace. He can also guard and high jump. I think just past Gimel with medium city offense is pretty good. Burkana is interesting. Themed after a witch, she has fire and ice spells, but can also fling bouncing spells that disable opponents' abilities to jump and shoot. If this applies to humans, who could say? But if it does, she can briefly terraform the battlefield into the worst one to be missing those specific abilities in. Even without being able to disable opponents, the fire and ice spells as well as geomancing places her just before Street Body Sigma, in my eyes, with large city offense.
I'm sorry, X. I didn't have enough time to see you enter the world.
Dr. Light,
I've given you the power to think, to worry, and to grow and evolve as you fight. But it is too soon for that power to be unleashed.
Lastly, we have X-Series Dr. Light, the AI copy, seemingly able to create new armors and erect new capsules, as well as repair X or Zero if they are within an unknown range of a capsule. While his body may be no more, Dr. Light continues to live on in immortality. You could describe his defenses similarly to a torrent, which is essentially indestructible. While he has never been canonically shown with any combat abilities, he can manipulate events from the shadows. I believe this earns him a spot in B, just after the Sigma virus. The only thing that could possibly eliminate him is a cataclysm that nearly destroys all life on Earth caused by a godlike entity. That had never happened between MegaMan series.
Doctor!
Farewell, X. You are the world's one true hope.
I feel like I'm forgetting someone.
The greatest. I'm a genius. Wait. That research from my youth. Yes. Now I'll show you light.
Oh yes, X-Series Dr. Wily, who also immortalized himself by transferring his consciousness into the digital world. While the games imply Light simply created a copy, they are clear this is Wily, full memories and will. He's been seen in at least 2 Reploid bodies, manipulating events to try to destroy X and cure Zero, after Zero became infected with the Maverick virus, which turned him into a hero and friend of X. Combining his paranoid genius with his digital form, he is as close to indestructible as you get, and like Light, manipulates events and creates new battle bodies. My headcanon is that at some point, he flees into a Meteor that gets locked into a warehouse for hundreds of years. Considering he has every digital device to flee into, I have to put Wily atop of B. Our world could never truly stop him. That's every X character unless you count X-Dive, which Riku is more like a Navi. And if I included them, I'd have to do Christmas Rico and Swimsuit. Most individual attacks in the Zero series would still range between wall and town level. Defense ratings are what level of damage would be required to one-shot a character. Last time, we put all Classic and X-Humans in H tier, because they are just ordinary people. But by Zero and ZX, it appears they are almost indistinguishable from Reploids. So let's bump them up with basic Reploids. Let's kick this off with probably the most complicated topics we need to understand to scale these characters. Cyber Elves and cyberspace. At some point before or during the X series, a new plane of existence was discovered or created that is a perfect replica of the real world, as well as contains memory spaces and unique areas. This new plane is called cyberspace, and all Reploids, Mechaniloids, and Cyborgs exist on the border between these two planes. I promise this is vital to evaluating Cyber Elves. The mechanical beings usually exist mostly in the real world, while they can swap in some circumstances. Cyber Elves are entirely digital beings, like Battle Network's Navis, that exist in cyberspace, but by destroying all of their data can interact with other beings that are on the border between these planes. Anything purely in the real world though, they can't touch. So, in the scenario we've been using, they would be a non-threat we can't do much to. But they've been shown to be able to fire buster shots at enemies or hold them for short periods. So I will rank them just above Classic Beat with Mechaniloid Platoon level offense, and Beat level offense. This goes for Cyber Elf X2. The Mother Elf is a special program built off of Zero's innately maverick data, and the Sigma virus. After it was discovered, Zero's Reploid DNA neutralized and immunized him to the Sigma virus. Unlike the Cyber Elves, she emanates. Yes, as in the Gnostic emanation. She can use her powers without limit. These powers are mostly the ability to modify mechanical or digital beings, effectively rewriting reality as far as their existence goes. While we could debate endlessly how she could transition to our cyberspace, let's just say anything connected to the internet is fair game. She could turn your computer into a tank, or your phone into a mechaniloid. She could turn a drone into a dreadnought. That's a conservative reading. I think this is A tier, and a solar system level threat we couldn't stop. Like, I can only classify her defenses as MegaMan universe level. You don't need anything too crazy, but you need MegaMan technology, or maybe our theoretical peak technology, to make a play at her. The babies, Kriya and Priya, are young copies of the Mother Elf who have limited power to rewrite reality, but still can spam plenty of large attacks against machines. We couldn't stop them, but the biggest threat they could pose is destroying our internet-enabled devices with ease. For this reason, I'm making another exception and giving them Extinction-level offense against Reploids, and MegaMan Universe-level defenses, just above Ramu. But with that, the elves are done, so hopefully we can get back to straightforward rankings. Copy X is a replica of X, Seal made when she was 6. After X went missing when he made contact with the Mother Elf. Unfortunately, this copy is pretty targreed, with weak abilities. He can, however, turn into an angel for some reason that's actually pretty strong in his lair, but is hampered by the form making him immobile, like Great Redif's. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt he can float slowly, and give him medium city offense. Same bomb shelter defense as most Reploids, D ahead of Shadow. However, Dr. Weil created a quick copy of Copy X, who stutters and is even dumber, though a bit stronger. Also medium city and just ahead of Fake Zero. Not gonna lie, he's pretty trash. His Nova Strike is more of a leisurely air dash. El Piso is a civilian Reploid with no combat abilities, but when the Mother Elf rewrites reality to turn him to a moth, he jumps up in power with rapid-fire shots and the ability to create platforms or walls. He also gains the ability to release big attacks on the regular. He has terrible mobility, but can teleport. I'm giving him large city attack, and a spot just ahead of Command Armor X. Omega, when modified by the Mother Elf, has many large-range projectiles and a reduced vulnerability hidden by 2 oversized copies of X and Zero's heads. It's strong, but I'm putting him before Scarface with large city offense. It seems like it has bad mobility. It just doesn't compare to Omega's true form. But that's already been ranked. Kraft is kind of a walking arsenal, with short reload times and a solid strategy. I don't think he matches Ultimate Command Armor, but I see him right behind it with large metro, maybe barely small country offense. Dr. Weil is a former human turned cyborg who face-tanked an orbital laser, but we are looking at him after he fuses with the same space laser. His attacks don't matter. He's a space laser and can fart countries off the map. You drop him in our world and Earth is cooked. I'm putting him at galaxy-level offense, and I seriously think moon-level defense at minimum. He expected to survive crashing the laser into the Earth, and Zero was just chipping him down enough so he couldn't. I think this is S-tier material. I'm dropping Pantheons, just ahead of Godil, and generic Reploids, because that's what they are, but with cannons and other weaponry attached. Weil is going for death by a million mosquitoes. Rainbow Devil is a devil that just has goo to absorb impact. It doesn't block any attacks like other devils. Small city offense, and a spot right above the Pantheons. This is a terrible regression. The 4 Guardians are 4 parts of X's psyche that split off, possibly due to his armor usage. Seal then created bodies for them too. Harpuya, like the other 4, has a transformed state of a helicopter, thanks to the mother and baby elves. But it's a big downgrade, so we're looking at just base Harpuya. He is agile and able to fly, and send saber slashes as projectiles. I see him edging out Vile and Falcon Armor X with large city offense. Fafnir can turn into a tricycle with flamethrowers. A lateral change unless he needs to make tracks. On foot, he kind of creates a bullet hell stream using many shots, bombs, and causing eruptions all around him. As a tricycle, he shoots flames, fire rings, and bombs. Less pressure, but he's also barreling ahead. I think it earns him a spot just out of Gold Armor X with small metro offense and decent mobility in tricycle mode. Leviathan is Queen of the Water and able to transform into a manta ray-shaped deep-sea skimmer. Both are excellent offensively and fight similarly by raining down razor-sharp snowflakes, flinging spearheads, and summoning ice dragons. She's also deadly when it comes to rushing in and tossing you about. If water is available to her, say she attacks Venice or a coastal or river city, I can see her approaching Marino with large city attacks, but she needs the water. Phantom only theoretically has a transformation because he died before the elves could make one for him. Part of that stems from him just being shadow armor but competent. He throws kunais, and boomeranging shuriken he can ride as well as creating clones to try and hide among. The thing is, it's obvious which is real, and he will do this over and over, giving opponents easy hits. I have to put him just out of shadow armor with medium city attack. And that's everyone in Zero. A nice and short one after X's insane cast. I'm expecting people will expect 0-0, but he appears to be almost indistinguishable from X-Zero, possibly slightly weaker. He is in a perfect replica of his original body. Yes, the lore is this is just a difference of art style. His body has not changed in any way. Maybe Alouette made an anime about his exploits and this is his redesign. You may be able to make a case ultimate form and the extra weapons might just edge X-Zero out, even if he is a little weaker. So I'll put him here to satisfy you and put Omega below X-Zero because he's X-Zero, but overclocked and without Zero's peak combat intelligence. Most individual attacks in the ZX series would range between wall and city level. Defense ratings are what level of damage would be required to one-shot a character. Last time, we put Zero and ZX humans next to basic Reploids due to technological advancements. Tech has also now replaced the Reploid Mavericks with Maverick Pseudoroids. Reploids or mechanoloids evolved using portions of various biometals. But they don't display meaningfully different power levels to the X and Zero Mavericks. The highest I could put them collectively is behind Massimo as large city threats. I was tempted to evaluate all of them individually because they vary more widely, but that would be redundant for more than half of them. I doubt anyone would complain if I skipped them, but what about the biometals? If I'm being honest, they are nearly featless, so I have to put them ahead of Quint with wall-denting offense and standard Reploid bomb shelter durability. Model X is basically just unarmored X with the second armor buster upgrade. I have to put this behind second armor with medium city offense. Model Z we have very limited information on, but Jiro seems to be able to fight much like Zero, but given the lack of focus on combat and the fact Jiro died, I'm going to place him just after Fake Zero with medium city offense. Model ZX is every cringy shipper's dream where X and Zero become one, with the powers of both Maverick Hunters. So this is basically just Model Z with a good charge shot. It's pretty good, but I think it falls short of base Zero at his peak. I think ahead of the ultimate Reploid armor with large city offense is fair. Model HX is the combination of X and Harpooya, but HX definitely doesn't match the real Harpooya. I see HX as large city, behind Marino. Model FX can fire fast and pull off trick shots, but beyond that, it can send a wave of fire ahead. I'm struggling to put this out of Shadow Armor X with large city attack. It is strong, but doesn't have anything hacks to rack up mass devastation. Keep in mind, being this low is still plenty strong. Model LX channels Leviathan alongside X, but also pales in comparison to the original. The attack output is very reduced, and it still only shines in water. I can rock out of Phantom as a large city threat if there's water involved. Without, you might go as low as second armor. Model PX gives Phantom another chance to show off his power. And it falls short, right? Nope, Phantom could have been a threat. PX adds a great kunai spam attack. Of course includes the boomeranging shuriken, and also can create a shield. I'm thinking this is all the way behind Scarface with large city power. Model OX is literally a piece of Zero's corrupted body, containing data for many of his strongest attacks. I'm putting OX behind Awakened Zero as a small metro threat. Model A, on the record, is a synthetic biometal created by Master Albert. But it was clearly actually made from Axel, and Axel gets strong. Model A is no different, being able to copy a large, possibly unlimited number of Reploids, pseudoroids, or models it defeats. Currently, it can be presumed to contain models ZX, H, F, L, and P. As Buckfire, it has some decent close-range fire melee, an offensive dash, and powerful jumps. It can stop time with Chronoforce, Rosespark can climb on vines, Vulturon and Queen Bee can fly, the latter also being able to carry objects. Bifrost gives it a big strong form. Headshock allows it to become tiny and roll around electrified at the speed of... a good speed. Model A can skate, create phantom clones, and use bombs as the twins. It may also contain Albert's angel form, which is quite powerful, and could get even stronger depending on what you throw at it. I think as is, this is at least continent level, but could rise beyond solar system the more you throw at it. So I'm putting Model A behind Weil in S. So let's jump to Albert. He is the creator of the Model Ws, and is able to Mega Merge with them, gaining an armor surrounded by 10 indestructible bits. These bits can be used to spam decent strength attacks. I'd say large building each, but they also generate an impenetrable shield, only dropping if all the bits take heavy damage at the same time. Even then, he's invincible until he takes a direct hit, but by using all 10 bits he can perform some even more powerful multi-block level attacks, like double Annihilator Hadokens, or creating fiery geysers across the battlefield. He can even trump time stop attacks. He's going behind Model A, top of A, with planetary level power. And if his shield is active, effective invincibility. I would wager he could brush off orbital lasers or survive a crashing space laser with that shield. Unfortunately, we have 0 feats for Master Thomas or Mikhail, but Thomas does have similar plans to Albert, so I can't rank them outside of the ZX humans in general, but it is likely Thomas at least was hiding significant power. Aeolus, or Model H, is very similar to Model HX, but with a bit more agility and the ability to fling tornadoes at enemies or weave electrical minefields through the battlefield. For this reason, I'm putting Aeolus out of Marino, large city. Model F, used by Atlas, comes closer to Fafnir with the ability to plant mines, fire bombs, and shoot energy balls that splash back when they hit something. Doesn't compare to the original for me, but is respectable enough to land behind Cold Armor X with small metro power. Everything Model LX was missing, projectile spam, insane underwater agility, Thetis is pulling out of his Model L. He's actually up there with Levi, but I think she edges him out with large coastal or river city. Cernak, or Model P, like the others, outshines the combo form with X. Here, he can also create and throw a rotating shield of energy discs. It can also flicker to seemingly teleport, doubles up the boomerang shuriken, and can create and distribute clones much better than Phantom. I think Model P can butt up against Marino with large city power. It might seem a bit crazy the single biometal fusions seem to be stronger than the double mega merges at first, but I think it actually makes complete sense if you think about it. There's a phenomenon of narrow expertise versus broad competency. Ale and Vent are trying to master 5 different double mega merges, so they cannot compare to the mastery of someone only learning the intricacies of one form. In short, I think Ale or Vent would have a higher power ceiling and would rank much higher if they had kept all of the biometals. Serpent was a businessman and another Model W user. He suffers from immobility in his ultimate form. I see him being large city either way, less threatening than Marino though. Even immobile, he could do serious damage with those meteors and hands. Prometheus, another Model W user, is able to spread fire across anything nearby, create and spin flaming tornadoes around, as well as summon evil skulls to provide support fire, while he swoops and hops about with his scythe. I'm thinking he could demolish a small country, but not quite to the level of Ultimate 4th Armor. The Witchy Pandora, possible heroine of the cancelled 3rd game, is all about filling the screen with projectiles from her bits, while she rides her staff or creates a rotating shield of electricity. Despite her apathy and lethargy, I could see her taking down a small country, just behind her brother. Finally, Galleons are the successor to Pantheons, and show a moderate increase in combat prowess and intelligence, so I'd say small city offense, right behind Cinnamon. Most individual attacks in the Legend series would range between wall and house level. Defense ratings are what level of damage would be required to one-shot.
Betas. You call them carbons. Though artificially created, in the end they may be closer to people than you think. The people living there know thirst, hunger, disease. They suffer all these things, and in the end, they grow old and die. But for one brief moment, they shine as bright as the sun. Because they know these hardships, they also know the meaning of happiness. Compared to theirs, our perfect world is cold and sterile.
Carbons, or betas, are the human-like people in the Legend series. They blur the line between human and machine, being able to reproduce but having mechanical limbs they can pop on and off. When they don't replace their limbs with weapons or tools, they display similar abilities to a human, but with a bit higher durability and strength. For this reason, I'm putting them in H ahead of Classic and X humans, with athlete-level strength and combat armor durability. Reaverbots are the forgotten descendants of mechanoids haunting the underground ruins. I see their power and durability being closer to treble, or beat with less mobility though. So I'm placing them in F behind treble with monster truck durability and partial city block offense.
It's the police!
The reason for that Reaverbot placement is because of the police, who are surprisingly tanky against Tron. In addition, bombs and ramming the Gustav with cars can inflict damage. I'm putting the police at the top of H with wall level offense and double combat armor durability. Denise, the strongest officer, edges the general police out when in her mech that throws crates of explosives. She's been shown as tree or light pole level offense minimum. I'd give her pickup truck defense too. Roll is an engineer, so in theory she could use some of MegaMan's weapons, and in non-canon games has thrown bombs. In canon, her only feat is bashing MegaMan in the face with a wrench if he gets handsy, potentially game overing him if he doesn't stop. I can put her ahead of basic carbons for that, but not by much. Roll's father, Banner Joe, has an arm cannon, so I guess he can go above Roll. That's something. Data's feats are all inferred, given that he can traverse any ruins with no trouble, and even travel between the moon and the earth. I don't think it's because of combat, more likely he just has Reploid level defenses comparable to a bomb shelter. Possibly regeneration abilities given he can repair and recharge MegaMan. It's tough to give him a spot, but I think that defense and mobility with no offense would get him maybe top of F. Tron is most often associated with the Gustav, whose strongest form is the Hover Gustav. In this form, it is equipped with a flamethrower and a Gatling gun that fires napalm rounds. I can give this form town level attack, and it does seem pretty tanky in the Legends world. I'd estimate around monster truck durability, so ahead of treble. Teasel's strongest mech is probably Blitzkrieg, a quick snake mech that fires missiles when it hops out of the ground. I give it small city offense and motorcycle level durability, though when underground it effectively has the durability of a moving bomb shelter. I feel good putting it above the Robot Masters. Bon Bon has two forms, a floating body and wearing a drill hat. I see the former being the stronger, but as a literal toddler, his missiles and raspberries aren't used that effectively. I see him with monster trunk defense and potential to be town level offensively, but he'd be lucky to take out a single building, so I'm putting him behind Eddie. Glide's strongest solo machine is Rafale, a transforming bird mech able to do flybys as well as shoot electric and sonar attacks, and do melee combat. It's focused on fighting a single target, which holds it back to town level with car durability, so right behind Tron. Servbots and birdbots, collectively, may be able to do impressive things, like leveling a building, but individually, I see them as small house level offense. That being said, they display the ability to rapidly repair from any damage. So I'm ranking them ahead of Tango.
Hi there. What's up?
Bola is a middle-aged man that fights with knives and smoke bombs, seeming to have a cloaking device, not super speed. He can whisper to some Reaverbots and kick around bladed tops as well. The cloaking is his ace. That's maybe city block level attack, and his defense doesn't seem any different from any other Carbon. I think I have to put him above the police, including Denise, in H tier.
You might not realize it, but someday you'll be old too.
Claymore is Bola's armored partner, who doesn't move much. Most of his attacks are spattering straight ahead, but he can shoot lasers around a large area too. Partial block offense and semi-truck defense, right below Denise. Gats and Geets have limited feats to go off of. We saw them clashing as robot dragons, and then Geets fought MegaMan with the strategy of dive bombing and peppering the ground with shots. Flying is good, especially if you can go through buildings, but my gut is saying they can't. So I'm putting them above Cinnamon with small city level attack and pickup truck level durability.
Well, that's done it. They woke her up.
The Carbons have decided their own fate. This is because they've activated Mistress Sarah.
Sarah is kind of a mystery. In her battle body, she has plenty of destructive attacks and seems capable of flicker, but she prefers to float in place their slowly flitted opponents. I could see her hitting a large city offense if she really fought seriously, but as it is, small city offense and elite tank level defense, right ahead of MegaMan. Classic MegaMan.
Yuna. Remember me?
Yuna has no feats besides healing Roll's mom, but as the same type of unit, her capacity is likely comparable to Sarah. This may be wildly controversial, but Juno deserves to edge out Palette with large city offense and semi-truck durability, in my opinion. His attacks are good, explosive waves, tackles, a damaging aura followed by calling lasers down from above.
Anyway, I wonder how MegaMan's doing.
Finally, MegaMan Walnut, or Trigger, like other MegaMen, has a barrier to protect him from damage. He has rollerblade boots, boots that protect him from hazardous floors, and thanks to Roll, an arsenal including everything from missile launchers, energy swords, bombs, drills, shields, and a laser. Granted, he's only been able to carry 1 to 3 weapons at a time. But let's give him just Shining Laser. Just Shining Laser, 1 weapon. I see small city offense and semi-truck defenses. Right above Sarah.
Sorry, MegaMan, but it looks like you might be stuck up there for a little while more.
I bet you weren't expecting a power drop, but that's what all the lore indicates. If you liked this, please like and subscribe for the rest of the series. Next time, Battle Network? It's going to take some time for me to determine how to tackle that, because there are much bigger power gaps between Navis than Robot Masters, Mechanaloids, or Mavericks. I guess what I'll say is I'm thinking of only evaluating them in Copybot, or assuming they face all opponents in the cyberspace, and instead of defense, noting any hacking feats. I'm not sure if Copybot or cyberspace would be better. Something's coming. What are you doing here, Rico? You aren't officially canon. What? V didn't stay dead after Capcom pulled the plug on your game, and now he's coming for me to get his revenge? Very well, let's assess the power of our defensive roster versus Teal Zero and Teal Zero Stop. Rico's combat powers include summoning recreations of Ultimate 4th Armor's Lingering Charge Shot, and Awakened Zero's one-hit kill move, though it doesn't one-hit kill. It just covers a huge area. It's random what attacks she will summon, and she can also paralyze nearby mechanaloids instead. Her other attack is creating a damaging force field that also turbocharges her systems, so she can summon these attacks more rapidly and heal from injuries. The summoned attacks linger in place like sentries, continually firing, allowing her to create traps, and maintain an offense while retreating. Her attack power isn't that great, but the versatility leaves me seeing her as medium metro attack with data or program level defense. I'm going to say she nears Epsilon level. She could create a copy of herself conceivably before dying, but likely would need assistance. This data level defense is also applicable for every X-type character. When Riko upgrades herself, with an armor she gains a buster allowing her to fire Ultimate Fourth's lingering charge shot freely, or modifying it all the way up to an explosion-cloaked laser. She also can use some of Zero's moves like a dash attack, Rekoha, the shooting lasers up from the ground move, and flinging projectile slashes around her. She also gets an extra shield every 8 seconds. I'm seeing her around small country, but not surpassing Ultimate Fourth armor. Iko, Riko's Kudere older sister, has similar abilities, but she can summon enemy attacks, such as Gospel.exe's claws, to core enemies, X5 Sigma's purple squares that slide around the battlefield, or rapidly stun enemies. She can also create a damaging force field, but it is anchored to her, so she can rush in close to torch fleeing opponents. You think that's kinda cracked? The force field will also release 15 terrain ignoring bullets that slow her prey if they hit, and grant her a shield. Base, this has to be small country ahead of Model OX. When Iko is upgraded with an armor, she can now spam an Annihilator Hadouken followed by a miniature one that sweeps all around her. Anything hit is swallowed by a damaging field. Her second move is called World Formatting, and it deals massive damage to anything vaguely nearby. And if something survives the attack, it will be inflicted with bugs that cause it to malfunction. She uses any of this, and she also gains a shield. I will give her planetary offense ahead of the Mother Elf. Droid Claire is an anthropomorphized computer bug that carries a haunted purse, releasing ghosts to attack and curse enemies or create damaging pentagram shields. The ghosts will even retaliate if she suffers any injuries. I'm going to put her behind Harpuya with small metro offense. Angepitoyer is a glitch given a humanoid form resembling a child angel. He basically has a Nova Strike that leaves behind a damaging field and can release enemy homing arrows that grant him a shield. Upon destroying anything, he also heals. As great as the Nova Strike is, I can only imagine him eking past Gaia armor with large city power. An error gave rise to Eratoer. Her attacks include using a pentagram to create a damaging field that heals her and increases her abilities, and weakens enemies within it, including causing attacks to divert and miss. Her last ability is to call upon the Holy Spirit to shoot 8 powerful spirit bullets upon each use. These abilities are very spammable. Yes, she's got God and anime on her side. She's near indestructible and she can deal obscene amounts of damage over a wide area. She surpasses Dive Armor Iko with at least planetary offense. Dive Armor X is the result of Riko making X a new armor. This armor allows X to charge his buster to fire an Annihilator Hadouken that leaves behind damaging fields upon hitting. He also can create a damaging shield that heals a good chunk of his health. I'm feeling this one out of X3 Sigma's Street Body, with large city offense. Zero also received a new armor that allows him to lunge at enemies, to cut, and engulf them in slowing fire. He can also fling 2 big slashes at enemies. He can also heal when below half damage, or when killing an enemy. I think he could just surpass the baby elves with large metro offense. Axel wasn't left out, and receives an explosive Annihilator Hadouken, flinging the letter A and then teleporting to it, releasing a massive cluster of explosions while healing. I'll place him above Ninetales with medium country attack. Even MegaMan.exe got a special cross from Riko. But the data is damaged and fragmented currently. Of course they didn't leave out the most popular X character. Iris can release energy blades in all directions that chase enemies down, or she can rush in their direction to chase down and paralyze them with a slash, releasing projectile slashes if they manage to slip away. Whenever she uses either of these attacks, she gains a shield. For these reasons, I'm putting her top of B with multi-continental power. Rico wondered what would happen if she made a new armor for Dive Armor X, and this was the result. For a quick charge, X can release 4 Annihilator Hadokens that leave behind damaging fields on anything that survives. X now has a multi-hit paralyzing Giga Crush, Nova Strike, or giant projectile slashes. Using any of these moves also gives him a shield. Yes, after each of the 4 Annihilator Hadokens. I don't think saying this is the new top of S will be surprising, which is beyond galaxy level. X can drift through the cosmos like Cosmos, finding planets to crash on and destroy. Via is a teal recolor of Zero that is the result of part of Wily's virus merging with an administrative profile in the deep log. Even if he doesn't want to spread errors and glitches, he is forced to. He was always an obnoxious troll, so he mostly has no qualms with spreading corruption. As you'd expect, he can mimic some of Zero's wide area attacks, but doesn't compare even if he can heal a tiny bit upon a kill. For this reason, I am putting him just ahead of Fake Zero. As the virus eats him further, he becomes Via Stop, replacing his attacks with swinging his sword rapidly around him or dropping an X-shaped weapon that extends energy beams and has a damaging aura. This second attack also heals him. The highest I can see him landing is above X-Fire with Large City. Healing and spazzing with a sword is nice, but he's always a sitting duck. He's Via Stop because that's what he has to do anything. His biggest strength is how bad he is about staying dead. For Battle Network, I am considering characters in unlocked infinite battery copybots. Defense seems a lot more uniform unless we get into HP pools, but that varies wildly between games, so I'm going to mostly look into their hacking abilities. You might expect Battle Network humans to be comparable to classic and X humans, but they seem to be much more resilient than real or classic humans. A few examples are Lan and Sean being irradiated, Arashi surviving an attempt to blow him up, many characters falling from large heights with minimal damage, the most notable being Dr. Regal throwing himself hundreds of feet into the ocean after using his body to complete an electrical circuit. Then he lived inside of a volcano immediately after. None of those things you can do and expect to survive. It would be a miracle to survive just one of those. Basically, no humans display unusual strength, but they have some kind of greatly boosted healing factor and or resistances to impact and radiation. Something top of H. Most Navis have the same base abilities. They are capable of flickering short distances with a buster option that in an unlocked copybot would likely be around wall level. They are also portrayed as having superhuman strength, agility, and durability compared to Battle Network humans. They also can use battle chips and can fully restore their HP by jacking in and out. Plus, most Navis can be backed up and reloaded if deleted. With pretty basic chips, I see normal and heal Navis approaching Colonel's level. Small BDM city power, but enough defensive options to make neutralizing one tricky. Probably the most mysterious and difficult character to evaluate, Glide EXE has never been seen properly fighting aside from the anime, which isn't canon to the games. He's only been seen creating gusts of air with his arms to extinguish cyber fires, flying and dive attacking opponents, and using a screen nuke attack called Glide Flash. My gut is saying he's very strong, but I can't come up with much justification, so I'm putting him ahead of normal Navis. I think those glimpses put him above them. They may be programs, but Mr. Progs are shown to be pretty useless. They can sometimes heal Navis or generate electricity at the expense of their own life, but I don't see one beating a Battle Network human. Unfortunately, there are so many viruses they should be their own video if I cover every family. Worse, they actually vary. A lot. Not like Robot Masters being distributed across E and F. No. There are viruses so weak I don't think I could justify them above H, and others are probably stronger than normal Navis. Maybe one as high as B or A. So to generalize, I'm putting them below normal Navi, but let me know if you'd be interested in a part focusing on every virus family. I don't see the point of saying anything about base MegaMan EXE, because his power mostly has to do with the forms he can shift into. Without that, you kind of just have a normal Navi with early access to new technology. MegaMan's unrelated love interest, Roll EXE's most notable abilities are the ability to create girly sparkles of invulnerability when moving, summoning weak virus allies, smacking enemies with her ribbons, and firing chip-deleting arrows. She can also recover some health periodically, and created a digital platform one time. Probably not going to consider that one. This survivability and ability to summon viruses on top of basic Navi abilities has me thinking she could almost handle craft, on her own, over 50% of the time at peak. Medium-large city power with ability to heal or dodge. Maybe the ability to corrupt weapons if chip deletion extends to nullifying primitive electronic weaponry. Gutsman is the tough Navi of Land's classmate Dex, and has super armor, meaning he cannot flinch when injured, can slam the ground to send shockwaves out, or crack floors, and can fling projectile punches while invincible. Among some less significant abilities, I see him approaching Roll EXE with those wide-range attacks, easily being able to take on a small metro. Proto-Man, MegaMan's cold rival, and the Navi of Chod, or Chu if you don't like the English dub and trolling the French, is the ultimate Navi sword fighter. Seemingly able to use any sword attack, innately without chips. He can also release sword beam attacks, is a particularly fast Navi, with multiple combo moves he uses to corner and delete enemies, and has a shield he uses between attacks. I'm putting him bottom of A with small country offense. Fireman, as his name implies, is a master of burning, equipped with double flamethrowers and various kinds of fiery bombs. Great offense, but everything else is pretty basic Navi level. So I'm thinking behind Pandora with large city offense. Fireman has been seen causing computers to overheat and smoke because they are connected to the internet near where he is setting fire to it. Heatman, Fireman's lighter-shaped brother. Fights by blowing heat waves or summoning flames from the ground. He can even summon a remote lighter to corner opponents or jump and flop, releasing flames all around him. Uneven terrain really challenges him, so I think he's going to fall behind Craft with medium city attack. The youngest brother under Mr. Match's care, Flameman, is a bit lazier, though he can blow fire. He prefers to rely on his invincible support candles, which can make him invincible, heal him, or summon fiery buddies to circle around opponents. With this trickiness, I say he's earned a spot ahead of Prometheus. Considering Cookman's only feat is being casually assassinated by Shadow Man without putting up any resistance, I'm just going to put him at the bottom of D. Maybe his name was supposed to be Cooked Man? If this was scaling every Mega Man character's ability to make curry, maybe I could make a case for S. Number Man is a Navi built for understanding the differences between credits and debits, not combat. He is less mobile than other Navis and fights mostly by sending 3 numbered balls at opponents, where 1 is always super low, and these balls weaken as they take damage. He can also test his luck by throwing a dice bomb that deals variable damage or throwing geometry equipment. I see him just edging out a normal Navi being this lethargic with such disappointing combat abilities. Sure, he could crack any cipher, but what then? Stoneman EXE doesn't move at all, taking his symbolism seriously. As an autonomous Navi, he cannot use chips either, but can create defensive rock cubes with the auto chip. Beyond that, he can stomp his outer feet to make rocks fall from the sky, which is a bit more terrifying than it sounds. Sometimes he also lifts his feet to fire lasers straight ahead. His biggest strength is his slightly high HP maxing at 800. I think I'm going to put him behind Shadow Devil. He's going to kill a lot of soldiers by dropping a rock on their head, but they can basically just stand there and fire away. He's so badly spec'd like the X-Hunters. City block offense, solely because he can't move, but casualties will occur. Colorman has a little more mobility than Stoneman, considering he has to lean to roll his ball. His attacks include kicking his ball, or remote control bouncing it at enemies. He also has 2 support guys who can release waves of fire or water, and move to block attacks. I'm giving him a small city and a spot behind Massimo. Electman EXE is a master of electricity, and is able to levitate. He can call down lightning to smite foes, shoot it forward from his hands, or throw ball lightning that homes in. He can also create coils to spread his attacks even further, many of which stun. He can also sometimes teleport behind opponents when attacked, but beyond that, isn't as threatening fast as you might expect. I'm thinking he'd fall behind Model OX with his sheer damage potential, and ability to fill the battlefield with coils. Known for his chilly breath, Iceman can create blocks of ice to push at enemies. Freeze them with his breath, mold the air into ice spikes to fire or rain down, snowflakes that create giant spikes where they land. He can also throw icy bombs. I see him behind Ultimate 4th Armor with Large City Attack. This guy is tiny and can hide like few others. Talk about a war of attrition, unless it's summer. Bombman fights by kicking bombs that explode in a cross shape and planting mines, unlike any similarly named video game characters. This would actually be pretty good if he was proactive, but he likes taking a timeout between bursts of kicking bombs. He should be above Proto Man, but I think I have to put him behind Normal Navi, because he likes to slack off for long periods. Even a small town police force would gun him down easy. Shadow Man EXE is basically just a ninja, so he can create doubles capable of doing most anything he can, which includes slashing with a katana, sending flame waves ahead, dodging and throwing precision shuriken. He can even teleport next to opponents and use a Muramasa to repay them any damage they manage to inflict on him. That raises an important question. How much HP would a human have? It's not a perfect estimate, but considering wave-changed humans start with 100 HP, I'm going to assume a human has some amount below 100. Otherwise, I have to assume if Shadow Man was shot 10 times, however much HP that did, his Muramasa would be like taking 10 bullets all at once. All of that is to say, no matter how you look at him, Shadow Man is strong, maybe even top of A, and considering he genocided an entire country's navies at his peak, I'm going to say his offense is around country level with humans too. Another lazy bones, Magic Man also remains locked in place when fighting, but he can briefly phase out of existence when calling support viruses. Aside from that, he occasionally fires a magic fireball straight ahead. He's got to go behind pallet. He might be city block level. The viruses are more dangerous than he is. Wouldn't you like to hear about Woodman? He's slower than most navies, but quick for the first battle network. He likes to hop around, growing spiky trees in front of him, or bending over and having spiky towers rise up around him. He can also call upon logs to make his opponents weave between them. Oh, and he can grow an apple bush to eat and heal himself. I see him falling behind Pandora and Prometheus. Sharkman has a fairly simple setup. He dives under the ground, creates 2 decoy fins that will attack for him, and only comes up when he himself is hurt. Then he can pull geysers up from the floor in front of him. Doesn't sound that crazy, but it's pretty effective. I'm thinking just ahead of Cutsman. Skullman mostly breathes out fireballs and turns his arms into scythes, then sends them into enemy territory to help him flush out his victims. He can also grow and throw his head at opponents before summoning it back onto his neck. I'm seeing him crawling up behind Gutsman. Pharaoh Man likes to stay back and let his support sarcophagi or traps do the work. Each coffin opens and releases a random attack, ranging from a laser, a homing rat, or throwing a block at opponents. He also sometimes sets a button that, when stepped on, unleashes a random trap. It could be a snake to pursue you, poisonous Anubis statue, needles, or meteors. His coffins also help block attacks. Given the extreme passivity, I don't think I can go higher than Awaken Zero. Brightman may be able to whip you with his plugs or even sap your energy, but let's face it, nobody is dodging the laser that can turn once. If he sees projectiles coming his way, he can also create an electrical shield. I'm going to say ahead of Ultimate Reploid Armor. Needleman's most notable attack is spitting in the air and firing needles all around him. He can do a lot of damage, but he spends most of his time strutting around. He'd probably take out a good portion of a city, but fall shortly after. I'm thinking behind Copy Sigma. Starman fires arrows around him, but mostly teleports around, calling stars to rain down on his enemies. He also can summon a crescent moon to orbit on the battlefield, but the falling stars is the killer move. I think he can edge out Axel with small country offense. Swordman is not too animated, doing a lot of floating in place and throwing swords or sword beams at opponents. but he can also move pretty quickly when he wants to try to stab someone with his butt. I think he might edge out X-Fire. Swords sometimes block attacks. It's not that bad. I think Gravity Man needs to go behind Raw Thor. He just floats, sometimes blocking attacks with his big arms and throwing out balls of inverted gravity, or altering gravity near him. This is pretty major sitting duck syndrome. Maybe he'd flip a few people before getting deleted. What is he gonna do? This Zero is not quite as strong as the original Zero. He's got a number of familiar moves, including a weaker form of Awakened Zero's instant kill move, and can deflect attacks with a sword, then teleport to attack. That sounds good, but he's just not as fast or able to string together combos. He can also use a Raikoha-like move, but with severe limits and has sort of omnipotence wherever his viruses are. I think he's secured a spot ahead of Vile V. The Life Virus is theorized to be the ultimate virus created by combining all 4 main elements. In its first version, it could regularly generate children, prototype-looking versions of it coded to each element, but it was later refined to be able to use these abilities itself, creating a series of fence posts, calling down a line of lightning, sending out a wave of icy stalagmites, or belching fire. It is also able to occasionally generate a life sword, a life beam, or call down a small asteroid on its enemies. It doesn't move much, though it can regenerate a barrier. This version 2 can also eject from the larger body if it takes too much damage and sprinkle spores to bring opponents to the verge of death. Something else has to finish them off though. I'm putting this behind Axel, mostly because its form ability holds it back. Clockman can time travel, but in combat he's not rushing. But he's not lazy either. His only attack is throwing clock hands, but he has a support clock that will summon support every 15 cyber seconds. At 15 seconds, it opens time holes and releases lasers in front of Clockman. At 30 seconds, it opens a hole and Crimson Dragon pops out behind his opponents to snap at them. At 45 seconds, it opens a hole for Rogue to appear and slash a couple times. Every minute, the clock itself turns into a laser. These summons may just be recordings though. If they are real, that raises questions like, is Rogue trapped in a pocket universe with motivation to throw so somebody can free him? The attacks on paper are good, but the fact they run like clockwork steals a lot of their sting. Even not picking up on the predictability, they only require a casual hop to evade. I think above Gutsman is as high as I can put him. His time travel powers seem to have some major limits too. Airman can blow small tornadoes ahead, blow an explosion ahead, or create 2 homing whirlwinds. I'm thinking behind Sigma's strongest street body, Small City. Quickman mostly attacks with his boomerangs, either throwing them straight ahead or in a figure 8. But he can also use it like a knife. He moves rapidly in bursts, taking a few moments to catch his breath. If he is attacked, any time besides when he is throwing a boomerang, he will use his boomerang to deflect the attack and immediately throw it. This has led to him being one of the easiest navis in the series. If he had a chance to show his speed, he might be able to give him military trouble, but as soon as they realize he can't help throwing a boomerang after deflecting a bullet, he's done. I think Stoneman would barely get better results. Cutman is a bit neurotic and only likes fighting while hugging rocks and jumping around at a slow and steady rhythm. That's a pretty serious disadvantage, and his only attacks are snipping with the scissors on his head, tossing some scissors, or sending remote control scissors to slowly orbit around another rock. I guess that's better than a normal Navi, but not by much. Nightman can shrug off non-piercing attacks when he isn't attacking or moving, which he rarely does. When he moves, it is one hop forward, which upheaves the ground around him, reducing opponents' movement options. His offensive options consist of throwing his mace at the ceiling or sky to rain down tiles, straight ahead, or in a circle around him. There's some good stuff here, but not much synergy. I'm seeing the military wearing him down, even if their bullets are just nicking him. He doesn't have the agility or range to put up much of a long-range fight, especially since doing anything will leave him hurting. Ahead of Redips, he's basically just a couple steps above Stoneman. Magnet Man is a bulky boy and immune to pain, so he'll take whatever comes his way without flinching. His magnetic powers also allow him to levitate, meaning terrain is irrelevant, and he's surprisingly nimble for his heftiness. His attacks include flinging magnets that arc once at opponents, creating magnet traps to lock his prey's feet. He can release slow, homing ball lightning, and even split into two to tag team. Though he never used it in battle, he can also create magnetic shields to deflect incoming projectiles. I see him almost meeting Proto Man if he can shield himself to survive onslaughts, while binding the legs of any military force sent his way. His offenses are relatively modest, but I see his agility and defense allowing him to subdue a small country. He who determines the positioning on the battlefield controls the outcome. Freeze Man is picky about the conditions he likes to fight in. Cold, ice-covered ones. Luckily, he can release enough intense cold to freeze over the terrain and push enemies away. His attacks consist of releasing a series of ice spires from the ground at opponents, or freezing the air above so it comes crashing down his icy spikes. He is also capable of freezing himself inside a defensive block of ice. It buys him a bit of time, but he's another stiff-kneed Navi who never moves, so I have to put him just ahead of Stone Man. Gate Man doesn't waste his male privilege to open his shirt to flash his enemies with his portal to elsewhere, possibly Merkland. By doing this, he can summon soldiers to assist him, or call forth a cannon. He can also summon a sturdy set of doors protecting a portal to block incoming attacks. Though this support portal can also open to allow an evil arm called Devil Hand to swipe at opponents. Hence why it might be connected to Merkland, the digital Hades. This makes him a bit tricky, but I do think an army could get him before he destroyed much more than a medium-large city. Right behind Gutsman. Toadman has a bit of a reputation as a weakling. But is he really? He goes into battle with 2 lily pads he likes to ride. These lily pads also release tadpoles occasionally. Sometimes he throws a bouncing frog plushie, leaving a puddle wherever it bounces. His best attack is a combo move where he ribbits an electrified note at opponents, and if it strikes and paralyzes them, he teleports next to and punches them. Alternately, he can teleport anywhere there's water. He does a lot of standing, though his lily pads do move. Still, his attacks aren't great. Aside from the perfect storm of fighting at sea, even then it's not as amazing as some Navis we've seen. I'm seeing him just surpassing Cutman. Yes, Thunderman can call down thunderbolts to smite his enemies, 3 at a time. But he also has 3 cloud buddies that can corner opponents and hurl ball lightning or discharge electricity. Finally, he's able to levitate and fire electrical beams from his hands. Though not too quickly. He likes to stay toward the back of any battlefield, which might make approach tricky, but ultimately would probably cut his rampage short. I see him nearing Heatman's level. Snake Man is a bit of a crafty coward, happily sitting in his pot and hiding whenever someone has him in their sights. Meanwhile, he summons snakes from any nearby holes. He can also fire bullets from his fingers and lunge forward. He's very situational. If you faced him in the Grand Canyon, maybe you could talk him up to Planetary, but that would be a very favorable matchup. Most of his matchups would be closer to Freeze Man, maybe just behind him. I could see him just hiding and the military just packs his base into a sealed box. If he didn't, he could be severely throttled if there are no nearby holes. Napalm Man is equipped with 2 machine guns for arms, can summon more machine gun sentries to provide support fire, and can fire a volley of napalm bombs that, fittingly, continue to burn wherever they land. To keep YouTube happy, let's just say he is built for war crimes, would make many soldiers desert, and could easily match, if not exceed, Proto-Man EXE's destruction. You can look up his namesake on your own time. Planet Man is another lazy fighter who likes to let the elemental moons orbiting him do most of the fighting. He can also call in mini fighter jets or suck meteors toward him. The moons release attacks based on their element or heal him, but can also be destroyed if they are hit with the element they are weak to. This would be a complicated fight, with military, firefighters, and farmers having to fight in unison. But with a very stationary target, they would take him down with little more than a city block worth of damage. Right ahead of Nightman. Base is capable of growing by absorbing the remains of defeated viruses or navis. At base, he has a regenerating aura capable of negating all damage below 100 to 150 and fires energy balls, a continuous stream after a short charge. He can also leap into the air and strike down, obliterating a wide swath. If we highball and assume Battle Network humans have 100 HP of vitality, they would need to hit him with a single attack that could be lethal to any human to make him vulnerable. But you might remember I said Battle Network humans seem way more durable than regular humans. So, for us, that might not even be enough. I believe we have sufficient weaponry to drop his aura, but we'd have to keep doing that or finish him quickly. I think he might destroy a medium country before we can turn the rest of the world into a nuclear wasteland. But at least space is deleted, for now, above Shadow Man. Gospel is a fusion of bugs that became alive. It may not move much, but it can expel elemental breath, constantly release bugs. It can send homing waves through the ground, fire a drill forward, or even summon any navies its bug data included. Also, it can only be damaged by attacks that target its open mouth when it is attacking, which would only be obvious to game-savvy soldiers. It appears it would move slow enough we could limit the damage to a large city, but it would not be an easy fight. Given its incredible resilience, I'm putting it ahead of base. Here's where hacking starts to come into play. Flashman is capable of brainwashing anybody who sees him flash. This brainwashing can last as long as he's alive. Aside from that, he can roll little light balls that strafe back and forth, spray lightning from his hands, and summon light bulbs that will flash and leave anyone who sees it paralyzed. I see just the surprise of brainwashing people allowing him to surpass Iceman. Flashman certainly moves as quickly and rapidly as you'd expect. I think he could take down a small country. Beastman can hop around and claw or lunge at you, but his most potent ability is hiding his body away and chasing you with just his arms and head. I think I see him just edging out Gutsman with his agility and ability to hunt you down or multitask. Bubbleman is a cowardly crybaby and likes to dig a hole to draw trap-filled bubbles from while hiding. Sometimes he will throw a crab to chase you or shoot a few needles. But if he can, he will only fight you if you are already injured. Despite what you may expect, these bubbles are strong. Fill up the battlefield and traps shoot ahead if bubbles are burst. I'm putting him behind Skullman because he moves, but very predictably. Even if his bubbles cause a lot of fatalities, he's going to get hooked and grilled before long. Desert Man is just a bunch of sand, so he can disintegrate upon every attack, or generate sandy hands to throw at you, or drop on you as bricks. He can also create pitfalls even where there is none of his sand. That is all to say, unless it is raining or you spray him with water. Since he is sand, he clumps up and can be pummeled. I can see him edging out Roll EXE, but he won't be very tricky once somebody tries water. It's possible Plant Man can stimulate plant growth and manipulate real-world plants, and it wasn't the tree's computer that did that. Combat-wise, he usually flings a wall of needles or threads vines through the ground to catch, trap, and sap opponents. He can also surround them with delicate flowers that will paralyze or confuse if ignored. He can also create a leaf shield that will heal him if attacked, and for the longest time, I thought this was a beta move, but I actually have footage of it. So this is actually a real move that he's just never used on me before in my entire life. And like you can see this footage, he just keeps using this move. Maybe it was cut in the American version? Wherever he throws buyers or threads brambles, he has to stop moving. As good and fast as the bondage vines are, he's going to be deleted before they can catch anyone. So I'm putting him ahead of Bubbleman. Drillman is able to drill through the ground or other dimensions to teleport elsewhere alongside decoy drills. The drill on his head also deflects attacks like a shield, but can be broken with powerful enough attacks. Though he can just tunnel into another dimension for a few seconds to replace it. So yeah, he definitely has a big lead on Napalm Man and Proto Man. None of those abilities are from a canonically questionable spin-off. Metal Man is so tough he can stand on any terrain, is nimble, and can break through almost any defense. His attacks include releasing a barrage of missiles, bashing things into the ground with his big fist, and yes, throwing a boomeranging circular saw. Oh, and he can create gears to till the ground. I'm putting him ahead of Fireman. The King of Cowards is Kingman, who likes to stay as far from the fighting as possible, while his pawns and knights fight. The pawns are pretty harmless, but the knights hop after their target, sending shockwaves with each jump. Unfortunately, He benefits from a confined space and will barely edge out Nightman, fighting a full military. He's also not going to attack except to defend and protect himself, so his offense is going down as justified self-defense level. Your number 1 first aid wingman, Bowman, has a big machine gun capable of firing bowling pins, whether as bullets or targets for him to smash with a well-aimed ball. Any pins he knocks over will home in on his opponents, and they can hurt. As silly as it might sound, I'd put him behind Fireman. Don't underestimate him, or he'll make a turkey out of you. Whoa, I think we just shifted to the white universe. It's kind of foggy, like there is an incomprehensible enemy. Mistman can release mist from his lamp, or accident body slam you. No matter what, he cannot be hurt, but his slow-moving lamp can. Yeah, he goes ahead of Kingman because the lamp isn't going to last long, no matter what he tries. Punk likes to squish himself into an invincible ball and roll around. He can detach his pauldrons, which are tops, and have them attack while he tries to bash his opponents with his tentacle arm, or use them as a shield. This sounds good. He's a wrecking ball, right? In theory, but if the floor is at all uneven, or any terrain blocks his path, he can't roll around very well. So he's got to go behind Gutsman, unless you want to give him the dream arena of one endless empty parking lot. Copyman is so mysterious, it is hard to rank him. He was seen copying Gutsman one time. Could he shift freely like Yuichiro's experimental Navi? Or could he only copy one Navi at a time? Is he Yuichiro's Navi? If that is the case, he can store at least 6 Navi forms, which is as good as the 6 Navis. Honestly, he's unrankable, so I'm putting him with normal Navis. You could highball and give him every Navi with the ability to swap like Model A, but that might be far beyond his limits. Darkman likes to teleport around, changing his clothes and standing there sinisterly. Depending on his color, different elemental attacks occasionally emanate from him, like beams of electricity, flames, or chunks of ice. He can also open holes to fill the battlefield with bats. I guess ahead of Heatman? Yamato Man is basically a spear samurai, able to attack from a distance and reflect projectiles with extra force. He can also call in little feudal Japanese people to help him secure the battlefield. I'm seeing him behind Bowman. The King of the Undernet, Serenade, is a bit apathetic. He has protective sashes that reflect any damage and move him to another panel if it is possible for him to move and he isn't attacking. This means he is effectively unbeatable unless you can severely limit his movement options. His offensive options include releasing a little sparkle or absolutely barraging anything in front of him with rapid-fire bullets. I don't see any way he goes below Albert. Alpha is a gelatin monster capable of creating clones that are extensions of it that can absorb people and things. The attacks it itself uses include swiping his hands, chasing enemies with a machine gun, and firing a laser into the ground a little bit ahead. When it is frightened, it will spray alternating electric blasts ahead for a few seconds, or fire a missile straight ahead. It may not move, but it constantly covers its weak core with protective slime that must be blasted off. I think this thing has to go behind Dive Armor Eco. Base GS is basically the previous base, but with a 200 HP aura and the power of Gospel. This means he can rain down Gospel's claws, spray its breath attack, or release a devastating laser. This is the point where our best weaponry might not be enough to scratch him. Even if we did, I still think Earth is cooked with his speed and those new attacks. I'm seeing him above next Dive Armor X. Ring and Turbo Man are tough to rank fairly given they have only one documented attack each. Throwing her hair ringlets as boomerangs for Ring, and calling down flaming wheels for Turbo Man. Turbo Man is also able to turn into a car, and presumably run people over. Ring also seems to be able to use each of her braids as a melee sword. That's not much, and we don't know their tactics, so I'm going to put them ahead of Number Man, with Turbo Man higher because he's got to be able to run you over, right? I'm not covering every style change in every element, instead I'm going to talk about how I'd rank the elements roughly. I'm going to say Fire is the strongest, being able to walk on lava and attack behind shields or terrain with a flamethrower. Aqua is second strongest for being able to negate slippage on ice, and it also can deal damage just behind a shield or hazard. It's also held back because it can take quad damage from electricity if on water or ice, oct if also in a bubble. Wood is the second worst on account of how niche its charge shot is. If you are positioned well, it can be good. Being able to heal whenever you touch grass is very nice, but you're at serious risk of being burned, which is going to happen more often than being Aqua on ice. Alek is kind of awful, with a weak charge shot that can paralyze for a second, and that's its best use. It can come in clutch, but not near as often as attacking behind shields. It is also immune to magnetism, which will usually be worthless. Gut Style is a form with one massively larger arm, like it just finished a 12-hour... Actually, I don't think YouTube will let me make that joke. Gut Style has double the buster power and can blast in quick spurts. It has super armor, meaning it is immune from flinching and pain, and can penetrate defensive shields. This is a decent upgrade from a plain form. I'd put it behind Gutsman. Shield Style, as you may expect, goes into every battle with a weak barrier, able to take any one serious hit. It can also reflect attacks back with a physical shield, and heal if it successfully parries an attack. This might be controversial, but I think it should go above Clockman. Custom and Steam Dials are a little too gamey to rank well. Both are able to receive rare or power boosted chips after defeating an opponent, small fries for Custom and boss level threats for Team. Custom has access to 10 chips every time they reload, making them a risk for program advances, and Team can put up to 10 Navi chips in their folder for a 1 in 3 chance of getting at least one for each reload. I didn't want to consider Navi chips, because any Navi hypothetically getting 5 Proto-Man or Plant-Man chips is completely broken, regardless of their abilities. But I will consider it only for Team Style, given his roughly 1 in 45 chance of getting 5 Navi chips on a reload. So Custom Style, ahead of Dive Armor Eco. Team Style, all the way to the top of A, with their disgusting number of Plant-Man chips. He probably even has a bunch of wood and Navi 40 pluses too. Ground Style, exclusive to white people, is able to attack the floor as well as automatically transform the battlefield upon engaging in combat. It can make the floor lava, a grassy meadow, or the icy tundra, or hollow ground. Nothing for electricity, because electricity is awful for styles. This isn't that good. I guess you could burn everyone's feet by making them fight up to their ankles in lava, but they still have their hands and guns, so just past base MegaMan EXE. Shadow Style loses its charge shot, instead being able to briefly become intangible. It's also able to float above any problematic terrain and create a ninja substitution and counterattack. Overall, I'd say this is just a different, overall worse shield style, so it will go behind that. Upon starting a fight, Bug Style will give a Navi 2 helpful abilities, ranging from 10 chips to pick from, invincibility, or a sturdy barrier, and 1 negative glitch, such as draining health, jammed buster, or causing strict drift. In addition, it negates any bugs they should have, and allows them to use bugged or dark chips without consequence. There's a lot of RNG, but I think this edges out Alpha. If you combine Guts, Shield, Custom, and Team styles, you get Hub Style, though it halves MegaMan's HP while in use. New top, making next Armor X look like fodder. Well, maybe that's an exaggeration. Hatman is a magician with detachable teleporting hands and trick hats. He can send an unknown number of hands, at least 3, in front of his enemies to swing a sword or throw a rose dart. Any hats he sets down will release kamikaze homing pigeons. He can also show you a card that will either burn you, explode, or blast you with water. This could be a good tool set, but his number one focus is always working the crowd. He's a showman. I'm giving him the edge on Airman. Jamming Man's strongest ability is how effective he is at jamming communications. He can shut down an entire area of the internet. Beyond that, he can fire concussive blasts or set up little jamming towers. Oh, he can also make a really slow ball of lightning that sometimes tries to follow enemies, The problem is I don't think any responding force needs that much communication to find this guy. I don't see him doing much better than Thunderman. Cash is an illegitimate son Wily accidentally created by forgetting to clear his cache. Cash's signature ability is mining other people's caches for their navies or viruses and creating cache copies. While they are significantly weaker, there is no known limit to how many or how quickly he can create these copies. He can also mutate by consuming cache data. This provides a protective barrier but replaces his legs with goo. Base and mutant cache can create rings that turn once to pursue targets. Mutating also grants him a laser ability. I think Beyond Flashman would be a good spot. There are a lot of variables necessary to fully realize his high potential. The pistol-flipping Ride Man can expectedly empty his 3-shooter. He can also whip a chain and make tumbleweeds blow by to trip up opponents. Man, I think I'm seeing him ahead of Elecman EXE. Reverse is a parasitic Trojan Navi able to burrow into other Navis and wear them like a skin. He can also flip to his natural werehorse-like state. In this form, he can fling his shoes at enemies, teleport in front of them to deliver a roundhouse kick, or I'm honestly not sure what is happening here. I think he's supposed to be in the air, kicking so hard air crashes into the ground and he effectively hovers. That last move I think edges out Pharaoh Man EXE, but the rest isn't as amazing. The Trojan Horse is an ancient virus able to spit fire or use Reverse's air kick. His most powerful abilities involve his hacking skills and ability to erect backdoors to spray viruses and junk from. I'm seeing him fall behind Alpha. One of these characters in Battle Network 4 to 6 is going to take top of S. Take a minute and comment who you think it will be. No editing or cheating. I think it's pretty obvious looking back. I'll pin the first comment I see that guesses it correctly. Colonel EXE becomes an important character in these games, and his sword can cut remotely wherever he can see. He is also packing other weaponry like bazookas and missile launchers, and can summon soldiers from the floor or small bits of terrain as backup. Yet, his ultimate move involves him trapping and executing a single opponent within his coat. I say this earns him a spot ahead of Gunner and Earth Sigma, with large metro to small country offense. Battle Network 4 replaces styles with double souls. The biggest difference that will be relevant being double souls have a time limit. It also has a chaos variation able to use a powerful chip instead of a charge shot at risk of destabilization, resulting in a soul schism that splits off MegaMan's Dark Soul to attack indiscriminately. But I'm not ranking those separately, that's just ranking the soul plus a chip in RNG. Colonel Soul also can attack remotely, but with smaller, less frequent slashes. While this form lacks an expanded armory, it can glue on and reuse any chip as a charge attack, which is honestly not as good as it sounds. Likewise, it can call for backup soldiers, but only from small chunks of terrain dotting the battlefield, simultaneously consuming them. This is a drop to behind Pandora. Gut Soul is a tough form that can buff non-elemental attacks, fire a burst of bullets, and punch instead of use a charge shot. I'd call it a marginally worse Gut style. Fire Soul allows MegaMan to bury the hatchet with Mr. Match. Upon assuming this form, lines of grass extend for MegaMan. His charge shot becomes a flamethrower. MegaMan can also sacrifice chips to release a long, powerful, fiery blast. It's not quite on par with the original Navi, so I'm putting it behind Heatman. Roll Soul is something I'm glad was created before the 2010s so it wouldn't get pulled into any controversy or internet wars. It can heal by 10% with every chip, and its charge shot becomes a chip-deleting arrow. But Roll herself is much stronger. I see this as barely less powerful than Falcon Armor. Thunder Soul allows MegaMan to make most chips paralyze, and he can use an Elect-style charge shot, a paralysis shot. This needed a lot more, but I think it's better than Ground Style, at the least. Number Soul is much more nimble than the original, but only has the die and the option to pick from 10 chips. It also slightly boosts chip power, You might expect this to be close to custom style, but the die and the time limit is a big handicap. I think I'd put it ahead of Fire Soul though. Metal Soul is all about breaking through shields. It can double the power of chips and grant them break by charging. And its Buster also breaks shields. But its charge shot becomes punching the ground. Unlike Metal Man, it can't hop in front of an opponent to bash them. So that's a big con. I'm going to drop it behind Roll Soul. Wood Soul heals extremely fast when touching grass, is immune to confusion, disorientation, and disease, and can create tornadoes like wood style. It also can feed chips to wood element chips to increase their power. The charge shot could be better, but most of this is very good. I'm putting it behind Kernel Soul. Proto Soul can charge sword chips to teleport forward to attack with double damage. It's also capable of reflecting attacks with a shield, but is limited by the charge shot becoming a wide slash, no teleport. I see this maybe being stronger than Clockman. Magnet Soul is able to increase gravity directly ahead, locking enemies' feet to the ground for a few seconds while it is immune to magnetism or altered gravity. It can also double the power of electric chips with a charge. Its charge shot allows it to pull opponents in close, but that could be very bad because it innately has nothing to combo them with. You know, I think Metal Soul is stronger. Immune to standing on lava, Napalm Soul can absorb the lava to boost the power of chips. Even without doing this, it automatically boosts fire chips. It can also charge fire chips to unleash napalm bombs or fire a machine gun. I'm putting this form after Absolute Zero. Night Soul can charge guard-piercing chips up to double their power, and becomes invincible when using chips. It can also knock the sense out of opponents with a Wrecking Ball, like the real Nightman. Maybe in the Steel or Iron Age this might be at the apex. It's not going to last long against any army with guns. So, ahead of Metal Soul. Shadow Soul is basically Shadow style. It can also sub out of damage, and tricky terrains aren't problems for it. And it can move extremely quickly and teleport behind enemies when using swords. This is overall enough of an improvement for me to put it above Shield style too. Toad Soul's big ability is being able to hide underwater. Beyond that, it can double the power of Aqua Chips with a quick charge, or release an electrical musical note, like the real Toadman. So it's kind of just Toadman without riding lily pads. I'd choose it over Gut Soul or Style. Everyone's favorite handsome navvy, Aquaman, can blast with a hose and spray tons of water all over. But that's nothing compared to his ability to flood entire sections of the internet when he cries! If he's in an unlocked copy bot, what is stopping him from flooding the entire state he's confronted in? Forget global warming. If he's not dealt with, he'll flood the planet, and he can breathe underwater. I guarantee you, if you point a bang bang at this little cinnamon roll, he's going to cry. So yeah, he's going behind base GX. Aqua Soul can charge Aqua Chips and shoot balls of water. It's nothing compared to the original, and I'm accordingly placing it behind Thunder Soul. It's just not as handsome. Top Man is anything but that. But also exactly that. He can slide or hop around as a toy top and become invincible. Or toss a couple mini-tops. But it's not enough to give him much of a chance. He doesn't even move as well as the normal Navi, and will land right behind them. Sparkman likes to slide electromagnetic bombs at opponents, or send an undulating wave of electricity ahead. But he can also unleash a flash of light and give life to your shadow, who will try to stab you in the back. That last one, I see getting him a spot behind Flashman. Who is going to see his flash and turn around to check on their shadow? Windman is so powerful his operator must seal his power, or he will create storms across entire internet areas. Again, in a copy bot, these burdened bomb-filled tempests can be expected to cover a massive area. Wind is much easier to deal with than not drowning, so he's going to fall behind our handsome planet-destroying Nugget. Wind Soul is able to suck enemies in, removing any energy barriers, and then bat them away with a wind-boosted tennis swing. It lacks a bit in power, but it's kind of just a better Magnet Soul, with the ability to pull and push. That's a lot of power to control how battles play out. Ahead of Night Soul. Video Man has a mixed bag of attacks, like streaming film all over the battlefield, but again, his attacks kind of don't matter. His real ability is being able to pause opponents, locking them in place, and rewinding to reverse the way their body moves. He can also replay anything he sees them do and turn the recording against them. He can increase his own speed by fast forwarding, or heal by rewinding himself to a point before he took damage. As long as cheating won't cause trouble for him, he just surpassed base GX. I don't know how he'd get to space, but he could probably handle a good deal of what is out there. He's basically just the worst roleplay OC. In combination with Fireman, Burner Man managed to make computer smoke 3 computer networks away. Let's lowball him to 1.5 networks. I don't think humans can fight him from very close. He goes into battle with 2 remote control blowtorches and can launch himself ahead, waving his blowtorch arms at opponents. He's going to pose a lot of difficulties, just even getting close, but he's not Video Man, so I'm sliding him behind Sparkman. Junkman is maybe the most debatable character. He can generate a steady stream of junk, throw anything not nailed down, extend his arms as a press to crush opponents, and fire screw bullets. Yeah, but he can also mimic opponents. Yet here's the twist. He's terminally ill, and his body is rapidly crumbling. In fact, in his brief scenario, his body completely deteriorates. I could see a case for him being absolute bottom, but I'm only going to put him behind the Battle Network humans. I can't see him as anything besides a Navi that is about to pass on in a matter of hours. Junk Soul, on the other hand, is also capable of throwing anything lying around at opponents, and has an aura that disorients and confuses enemies. It can also recycle chips it used. I'm thinking behind Burner Man. Searchman, as you might expect, is a sniper with an auto lock-on rifle. But he can also assess the battlefield and fire from above using portals or mirrors. He often hides underground or activates a cloak to hide, and sometimes also throws grenades to keep opponents on their toes. Heck, he can even shoot his enemies' chips out of them. His biggest weakness is his overcautious nature that leads to him waiting until he thinks he has a perfect shot to attack. So I'm only giving him the edge over Great Redips. Search Soul is able to hit opponents through their defenses, wherever they are, and like the original, carries an auto lock-on gun. It can also shuffle through its chips, searching for just what it needs. It's kind of a toss-up if this watered-down version can edge Searchman with raw aggression, but I'm thinking barely. Coldman is kind of a weaker Iceman, making and pushing ice blocks, but he can also spread freezing cold clouds and flop on your head. I gotta put him behind Model OX. Kendo Man is a nimble and aggressive swordsman, able to dash and teleport into your face to score the point. He can also create 2 clones to gang up on opponents. He's best in duels, so in a real battle, let's put him just past Night Soul. Shademan is a vampire with shadow-based attacks, such as rising out of them to bite opponents, or using them to summon the same hand Gateman did. He is able to screech, generating sound waves, spread his arms to release bats, and dash ahead. At times, he's been immune to all damage besides darkness, but it's unclear why. Worse, when he's deleted, he just goes back to Merkland and has to crawl his way out. I suppose the most powerful form we could look at is immune to everything except dark and evil attacks, so he's probably unbeatable depending on how far we stretch what constitutes an evil attack. So I'm going to just put him behind Windman, but you could make a lot of arguments. Laserman mostly shoots lasers a few steps ahead of where he is, but can also shoot them ahead or into the air, breaking up chunks of rock or ceiling to fall on your head. I'm going to put him behind Magnet Soul. He's also unable to flinch, but his favorite tactics hold him back. You can't just keep shooting lasers on the floor. What are you, a cat owner? Dark Soul is an entity usually seen taking the form of MegaMan, but can take on the form of any Navi who has taken a hit off of Dark Chips. Dark Soul maintains any modifications the Navi had, can freely use Dark Chips, or any chips the original Navi has ever used. If it is about to be deleted, it will sometimes become invincible and spaz around in a berserk rage. Again, tons of variables here, but I'm putting it after Flashman. Once it goes buck wild, as Omegasis would say, it can do a lot of damage fast. Duo, the Celestial Judge, rides around in a meteor, destroying species he deems wicked. So that's far above planetary, easily cluster level minimum. And the new Apex Predator. even if we take away his meteor. He is huge, heavily armored, equipped with missiles, and has giant fists he can mash you with. He's still gonna be up there, but by a smaller margin. I am giving him his meteor though. Gyro Man is kind of just a helicopter with unusually poor maneuverability. He can fly ahead dropping bombs or fire a few shots at all nearby enemies, but he's never been seen moving as wildly as a real helicopter. When he is in a helicopter, he can generate a whirlwind from his hand or throw a propeller shuriken that can arc if their target tries to dodge. I'm putting him ahead of Iceman. Though Gyrosoul can't turn into a helicopter, it can still float above any hazardous terrain and also generate a tornado from its bomb. In addition, if it uses a wind-aligned chip or is subjected to a breeze, wind and null chips double in power. I think I could see this ahead of Toadsoul. Tomahawk Man is blessed with a huge arsenal. He can cleave or throw boomerang tomahawks. He can grin through any pain without flinching and is immune to diseases, poison, and perception-altering substances. For some reason, he can also spin dash. He heads into battle with either a support totem or a cyber eagle. The eagle can dive by or even transform into a hawk tomahawk, able to cleave a fissure in the earth. This may be controversial, but I see him well surpassing peak Proto Man. Tomahawk Soul can also disregard any diseases or toxins and perform big cleaves, though I'm putting this after Airman because Tomahawk Soul terraforms any battlefield into a grassy meadow where it will be obliterated by anything fiery. Medi is a nurse who mostly just throws poison-filled capsules, watching them explode. Occasionally she'll generate and mix a bleach and acid molecule, or something else you don't mix, or release a sphere to catch and siphon your vitality. I don't think the capsules would do anything, but mixing chemicals might win her a few skirmishes, if she could get it off. Which I kinda doubt. Yes, like most Navis, she is agile, but this is still a strategy with issues. But I think it is better than Tomahawk Soul. Speaking of a soul, Medi-Soul allows MegaMan to throw capsules too, as well as infuses chips with toxic effects or an effect that siphons health from enemies. I feel above Toadsoul is good. Blizzard Man is a fellow Darkloid, like Shade Man, able to quickly make and quick snowballs ahead, or turn into a giant snowball and steamroll opponents, leaving chunks of snow all over. He also has Icy Breath and can frost the floor. Don't underestimate how quickly he works. He could even outclass Flashman with just diligence. Infringing on Thunderman's copyright is Cloudman's evil feat as a Darkloid. Unlike Thunderman, he rapidly generates stationary storm clouds that fling ball lightning at enemies, or release a blast around them before being spent. Any attack can dissipate a cloud, however. He can also become a sturdier cumulonimbus cloud to chase opponents. Otherwise, he likes to lazily drift about. If these clouds were any sturdier, or he had some urgency, he might be able to be higher, but I think Numberman surpasses his potential. Copyright infringement doesn't pay. The final Darkloid, Cosmo Man's go-to moves are throwing one of his rings to drop and spin. He's also able to open space portals to dispose of attacks and drop a meteor on rivals. Finally, he can step into a portal and send a stream of tiny asteroids at enemies. I can see him approaching Windman. As a football player, Gridman, no idea what he has to do with grids. He was supposed to be Footman. Anyway, no amount of pain can stop him from rushing to the end goal. After summoning the rest of his team, he does everything he can to rush in towards his goal, and if he succeeds, the whole field explodes. Sometimes he punts, hoping to drop the ball on the other team, or fumbles so it chases them. Let's just be frank. Like a real football player, he's going to be gaining inches at a time. Football is one of the slowest paced sports, where your only actions are so predictable, the average play is under 5 seconds. If the military dropped the ball and he scored, maybe he could do something. I'm sorry, football fans. I have to put him behind Magic Man. His only mix-ups are still pretty predictable. Having a 3-man team is his best asset, but his teammates go down like paper. The Bishonen Swallow... Oh yeah, Capcom saw the jokes coming and changed his name to Larkman. He's able to clap so fast he creates a blade of air shaped like a bird that swoops at you and returns. He also likes to dive bomb his opponents in a similar way. I think I'm going to put him behind Gutsman. He has potential always flying, but is also pretty predictable. There's actually quite a bit of speculation of how Nebula Gray works and what it is. It's the incarnation of hate, greed, and every other toxic trait in humanity. It is invincible except for a blue soul that orbits its body, possibly implying there is something wrong with how it incorporated. Otherwise, I don't know why your soul would be a satellite. I'm not giving it SoulNet a spiritual internet either. That is entirely separate. No. He's a copybot, like most of the others, darting evil snakes through the battlefield. He can spit evil chasing fire. He can also unleash a dark navi to use a dark chip on enemies, effects ranging from raining evil meteors to a homing ball of lightning. A piece can break off and turn into a wolf-headed snake to destroy a large patch of ground and anything on it. Its final ace is unleashing 1,000 heads that will tear through any defense and suck his prey's life. Is there any debate that even without SoulNet, Nebula Gray goes right below Duo? What if Nebula Gray really was an imperfect replica? Because there's an entity known as Chaos Lord, who seems to be the same thing, but formless, and many times more powerful. So yeah, let's put him above Nebula Gray. He can also become Base, or any Navi who has toyed with darkness. Speaking of Base, Base Double Cross has been feeding on dark chips, and the traces of Nebula Gray and Chaos Lord, which has left his life aura unusable, instead giving him a rapidly regenerating black barrier. He's replaced the energy balls with a machine gun spray, and black wheels he calls Hell's Rolling. He can also combo dark swords or create massive balls of evil to push into or hurl at opponents. Yeah, we are above Chaos Lord now, but I think Duo EXE would still walk all over him like a doll. MegaMan is capable of taking on Base's form at this point by forming an intimate relationship with him through battle. This is referred to as a cross, which is entirely separate and tangential to Double Souls and another system it could be easily confused with. Base Cross is split into two forms. The first is Base Cross Gold, which won't flinch to any attack and has Base's machine gun attack as a charge shot. The second is Base Cross Silver, who instead can float above the ground and unleash a Hell's Rolling charge attack. Both can still use souls, or the identically named crosses, and both have a wide buster shot. You might have picked this up, but this isn't a huge increase in power. I'm thinking Base Cross Gold ahead of Plant Man and Base Cross Silver ahead of Gut Style. Soul Cross MegaMan crosses him with the Sun, which is a lot weaker than you would probably think. Basically, he just gets stronger and gradually heals during sunny days, and sunlight-based attacks are twice as fast, which his charge shot lets him shine piercing sunlight in front of him. The main thing that persists indoors at night or during overcast days is his ability to never flinch. If he gets a favorable arena, maybe he could surpass Magnet Soul, but otherwise he's gotta go ahead of Zero EXE. It is at this point Double Souls went out of style, and MegaMan started getting soul crosses. Like Spirit, not Sun, so time to catch up again. Yay! Unlike souls, crosses last until something they are weak to touches them. Each cross can also be corrupted by a digital monster living in MegaMan's belly. Both monsters allow MegaMan to teleport in front of enemies before using a chip, and teleporting back away, and grant the ability to charge and eat chips to claw enemies up. The first, naturally occurring monster, or Psybeast, Greygar, can give MegaMan a corrupted wolf-like form, including a rapid-fire buster and immunity to pain. It is an extremely fast, aggressive, and unpredictable form I see falling just ahead of Sparkman. The man-made Psybeast, Falzar, gives MegaMan a hawk-like form, with many comparable abilities, save the flinch immunity, which are replaced by the ability to fly. This form's rapid-fire mode releases feather bullets over a wide area. It's close to Greygar MegaMan, but I see it falling a little short. Heatman returns to give Heat Cross, a form that boosts buster power and the strength of fire chips, and grants MegaMan a flamethrower when corrupted by the monster Greygar. This form gains Greygar MegaMan's abilities and can breathe fire. I'm putting this form behind Windman, even if it can't fight on a rainy day. Remember Electman? He's back to give MegaMan Electcross. This form allows chips to stun enemies and can fire an electrified bolt ahead. With the power of Greygar, it can breathe intense electricity, leaving only devastation behind. Ahead of Heatcross. The handsome boy is back, bringing the very distinct Aqua Cross. It's basically just Aqua Soul, except it now heals by using Aqua attacks, and can be mutated further by Falzar to release mini typhoons. I say behind Heat and Elect Cross. Also entirely unique is Tomahawk Cross, a form that is Tomahawk Soul without making the battlefield a meadow, and with the ability to evolve by Falzar. In this state, Tomahawk Cross gains the ability to throw its wings as boomeranging tomahawks. This gets to go behind Napalm Soul. The expert of cutting, Slash Man, moves a lot, almost dancing before he rushes in to smack opponents with his bladed fists or Zangief spinning. He also has kunai he can hurl. Altogether, I see him surpassing Sparkman. Slash Cross can charge sword attacks to throw them, do similar cutting attacks to the original, and look to Gregar to instead slash both arms in a cross shape after charging and eating a chip. One-on-one, it's not bad, but it's just a marginal upgrade over base Gregar MegaMan. Erase Man is an assassin designed to take anyone down. That's not why he's called Erase Man, though. He's named Erase Man because Capcom erased his edgelordy original name. He constantly emanates evil, but flimsy spirits. He runs a trap across the ground to paralyze his prey, then fires laser eyes at them, and of course can reap with his scythe. He's another one-on-one specialist that wouldn't do well against even a modest police force. Maybe a bit better than Punk. Erase Cross inherits the eye laser, but doesn't need to set any kind of trap first. Also, if anything you are wearing or about you could be described as fourth, he can instantly slay or cripple you with his attacks. This is because 4 is the mark of death. If he gives himself over to Gregar, he can launch the barb on his tail at a target to cripple them. While he is better with crowds, I'd still put him behind Slash Cross. If you like trains, Charge Man is literally a train. As you might expect, he can only chugga full steam ahead, occasionally bringing along fellow train cars or spewing red-hot coal. This pattern doesn't do him any favors. Without it, he's nothing more than a normal Navi shaped like a train, though. I can see him easily tooting past Number Man at the least. What if you could be the train? Unfortunately, it probably wouldn't go well. Charge Cross lives up to the charging. If you give Charge Cross long enough, it can massively boost the power of chips and have lots of chips to choose from. That's not happening though. While Mega Man is trying to get things rolling, all the extra he can do is a quick tackle or ask Gregar for help, allowing him to launch Gregar's face ahead. Yeah, that's pretty random. I give it a rating of behind Wood Soul. The flying Tengu Man can grow his nose to poke you, create tornadoes or gusts of wind and dive bomb you. I'm going to put him behind Burner Man. Tengu Cross can control the wind to suck people in and knock them away a bit like Wind Soul. Any kind of barrier or shield system won't work against this form, and he is light and able to float across any kind of terrain. If he lets Falzar take over, the bird can create a big horizontal tornado. I see this exceeding Electcross and approaching Windman's levels. This ugly dude, Dustman, likes eating garbage. He unflinchingly inhales it and spits it back out like Kirby. He can even turn his last meal into a buddy who will briefly fight in his stead. Or he can suck you and any protective shields in and bash you between his hands. I'm putting him ahead of Searchman. He's kind of just a less dangerous Junkman without a terminal illness. Maybe he is Junkman's soul in a stable body. Dustcross gives Mega Man many of the same abilities. Mega Man can suck up anything lying around and shoot it at a target, or mold it into a buddy. Unlike Dustman, Mega Man can send unwanted chips to the bottom of his deck in exchange for new ones, and Falzar can lift him into the air for him to barf garbage all over the battlefield. I'm going to drop this set of Erase Cross. Groundman doesn't scoff at difficulty or pain and can literally teleport beneath your feet and drill into you, or launches drills at you. Or he can just mow you down and charge ahead. If he crashes into anything, opponents will have to watch for falling shrapnel. As good as his teleport and bore into you move is, it's pretty single target, so the highest I can go is behind Flashman. Ground Cross keeps the drill under your defense's ability, though not as rapidly. This form's attacks can also create shrapnel hazards or cause rock slides. And if he looks to Falzar for power, he can swoop ahead with his drill, penetrating any defense. For me, this is the first time the beast form doesn't even kind of compare to the original. Sorry, Ground Cross is going behind Heat Man. Blast Man can shoot an explosion ahead that just keeps exploding, or he can shoot a horizontal fire whirl, or a flurry of little long-range fireballs. That's it. I think I can only put him past Heat Man. Dive Man, as a submarine, can swim through the ground like it's water. It makes it tougher to hit him, but also makes him one of the slowest, most predictable navies. However, while underground, he steadily fires missiles out and can even pull a tidal wave out of the ground. I'm seeing him just ahead of Cookman. While he's not actively trying to die, he might as well be as easy of a target as he would be for any police or military force. Circus Man's greatest feat, or possible weakness, is that he can safely keep a Psybeast within himself with no risk of it corrupting him. He also is a master of throwing hands, and can rapidly teleport his hands around to clap on people. He can also throw lions with a whip slash. Finally, he can tear his legs off and try to jump on your head, and if successful, subject you to unfathomable horrors that leave you with PTSD. Do you think Behind Proto Man is good? Those thunderous claps are lightning fast. Oh, I also forgot, he can drain your energy and life just by dancing in front of you. He could go a lot higher if every military force watched his show instead of just sixing him. Judge Man, oddly enough, also uses a whip, but his is electrified. Beyond that, he can unleash hungry books to chase opponents or set down a giant book to counterattack. As more of a duelist, I judge him inferior to Desert Man. Element Man is a jack of all elements, able to shift and change what 2 attacks he can do. None of them are too impressive, and all are unusually predictable. He's still a Navi, but Ground Style is a master of more elements, if you ask me. I don't know why this last batch of WW Navis feels like scraping the bottom. Heck, maybe you should go even lower. Finally, we have Iris EXE, who we have little information on besides that she can control electronic devices and can even influence the Psybeasts. She also has the most experience using a copybot, and seems to be an excellent climber or acrobatic, considering the places she can get to. I know I memed a little bit with the original Iris, but unironically, she seems tough to beat. Here are a handful of highly ineffective things on account of being electronics. Tanks, planes, cars, drones, missiles, radios, computers, cameras, lasers. Even melee weapons might not work well if she could just animate jump away. Now, she could politely ask the missiles or tanks to fire on you, and they would, so her power is unknowable, but she is likely near unbeatable. For this reason, she's going behind Aquaman. Gregar might as well just be gospel, but broken. It too has elemental breath and can swipe with its claws, though it can also throw its head to bite prey before recalling it. He is full of beans and always pouncing around, charging and dodging, causing chunks of anything nearby to tumble down. His tail can fire like a machine gun, and he loves eating chips if opponents aren't on their A game. The one silver lining, its whole head is vulnerable, but good luck. You'll need more than when facing a distraught Aquaman. With just a flap of its wings, Falzar can create gales and use its own feathers as darts. It can exhale tornadoes or sick baby phoenixes on its enemies. It can also rapidly stomp the ground or cloak itself with a tornado and dive bomb. These are pretty deadly attacks. Just for the agility, I have to put this behind Iris EXE. Base, again, feasts on the remains of the Psybeasts, losing his barriers and dark chips, and getting the ability to use Gregar and Falzar's breath attacks as base Beast Cross. Otherwise, he's the same as base Double Cross, but more aggressive. This was a bad move. Neither of these new moves are good enough to throw away a barrier, so yeah, he gets to go behind Nebula Grey. So, that's Base's final form, right? What if I told you there was one more? Introducing the most mysterious Battle Network character, Beast Out Base. Yes, that is Base with a full Beast Out going. And as far as I can find, we know zero lore about him or his abilities. So let's just speculate he has MegaMan's Falzar Beast abilities combined with base Beast crosses. I think that's a fairly grounded assessment. So, by this logic, he can fly and this machine gun attack is now a wide spray of feathers. He can teleport into and away from his enemy with lightning-quick attacks. I can see Falzar doubling up Hell's Rolling too. I think this would secure him a spot behind Duo.
You forgetting me?
No, do you count? You're a crossover character. The Count of Ground's so... You edgelord. No.
Do you know why they call me that? 'Cause I'm not going to drink your blood. I'm going to dye my carpet red with you.
Red carpet? I have a red carpet. Why don't you just take mine and I'll replace it with green or black? Black carpet with teal walls would be sick.
Ah!
Hold on there. We aren't done yet. I'm taking care of all the navies. Star Force has navies that cannot be fought. So they are all going ahead of normal navi. I'm putting Keyman at the bottom because how do you fight with a key? Especially if it's in your head. Maybe he could be like Gate Man, but then why would he be reduced to being the master of unlocking in exclusively legal methods? Next we have Trader Man, solely because he has a lot of pointy edges and could hurt someone by consequence of existing. Next we have Pitcher Man. You might be thinking I'm lowballing because he could rapid fire fastballs. No. He has to take a break to recover after every throw. No wonder someone threw him away. Now we come to Thermo Man. Could he be a fire and ice navy? Nope, he's not Furnace and Freezer Man. He is your number one choice to control your home thermostat, and is hyper-fixated on making the temperature just right. Maybe he has potential to give you heat stroke in a few hours? Propeller Man I expected to put low, as he's basically a knockoff Gyro Man. But he can fly things, and maybe he has wind powers or machine guns like the original. The other navies are just so frustratingly useless the harder you look. Finally, the king of this era is Shovel Man. He's the only one built to look at all imposing, and that digger could do damage. You think we're finally done? No, we have security robots, which are going top of H. They've been shown to be able to breathe fire, giving them a serious danger. But a middle schooler was capable of bullying one into a locker. So it's not that hard to dispose of one. It says more about the adults scared of one of these, just because it is breathing fire. For Star Force, defense seems a lot more uniform unless we get into HP pools, but that varies wildly between games, so I'm going to mostly look into their hacking abilities. As you might expect by this point, Shooting Star MegaMan is a kind of middle ground for EM wave beings, which, strap in, we're spending some time here. EM beings are nearly pure energy beings, seen sometimes exceeding light speed. Don't misinterpret, the speed of light can be exceeded by using physics hacks, so they are not faster than light. However, while inconsistent, they are depicted as near light speed, with time passing very slowly while wave changed. And yes, by using pulse holes they can travel distances light years away, like deep space in seconds or minutes. I suspect that pulse holes have space warping properties that effectively suck them to their destination. A bit like a rubber band or a vacuum. But yes, right there, this Mega Man can move at near light speed, especially over short distances, much like many navies. The only time this seems to change is when there is a lot of EM interference, creating what Omegasys calls the visible zone phenomena. This phenomena slows EM beings down and makes them visible and somewhat tangible. Otherwise, they effectively cannot interact with the physical world. This also seems to be analog. For example, EM beings appear somewhat slower on the technologically advanced Earth of Star Force than in space. For this reason, I'm making a whole new tier for how broken these characters are. SF tier, and Duo EXE is getting bumped up. While in this visible zone, they can do much more than you can to them. EM beings have shown feats such as super strength, unearthly durability, and are still extremely fast while in the visible zone. They can even lock on and teleport. I see humans having no chance against any EM waveform, and I'd give Mega Man's offense at least galaxy level. I don't think he poses near as much threat as Duo though, but at his weakest, it's not even close for the human species. EM aliens, which include AMEans, FMEans, UMAs, and synthetic copies called wizards, are entirely energy-based lifeforms, often tied to various celestial objects. With a few exceptions, they are comparatively weak and much weaker than any known wave change they have performed. They become much more powerful by joining with a human and usually display weaker abilities of their joint form. A notable exception being Omegasis, who is capable of fighting with his claws, something MegaMan can't do. Keep in mind, in order for them to interact with the physical world, they must be in the visible zone, same as any other EM being. The last, most useful to place them, and unfortunately most widely variable ability, is they can enter and possess smart devices, ranging from cars to security systems. That being said, their wave-changed forms are more capable in this sense too. So basically, this is a lot of lore to say we are putting them at the bottom of SF. They are some of the least threatening EM beings, but they are still beyond our comprehension. Hertzes are naturally occurring EM lifeforms named after Heinrich Hertz, who perform tasks pertaining to waves. So like MegaMan or the aliens, they could only ever Hertz you, or be Hertz, if they are in the... Good job. I think everybody understands the visible zone goes for pretty much everybody in this video. While they may be just as defensive, I can imagine Hertz hurting you. They are to Mr. Prog's what this jar of peanuts contains peanuts warnings are to reasonable safety warnings. These guys don't even have sharp edges, and they cry over everything. So split the difference, I'm putting them below carbons. Similarly, EM viruses are entirely energy-based entities who can attack smart devices. Like the Battle Network viruses, I'm grouping them together now, and they are going below the aliens. A few viruses might be kind of on level with them, but they generally have little trouble with EM viruses. Certain EM viruses can force wave change with a human, effectively hijacking their body and creating a jammer. While still exceeding most EM aliens' power, jammers don't quite match most wave changes with an alien, being limited to basic attacks like punches, kicks, Vulcans, and bombs. MegaMan's hungry friend, Taurus Fire, is stubborn and wild. Not stopping his attack for anything, including pain, he constantly teleports around, rushing in to punch, tackle, or snort fire. He can even remotely cause pillars of fire to erupt under opponents' feet. I'm giving him the edge on base MegaMan. MegaMan's partner, Harp Note, is a master of sound. Her hearing covers a much wider range, and she is able to recalibrate other EM beings to open shortcuts for them. When it comes to combat, she can create amps and blast opponents with notes. She can even move in close, and her serenades will leave their head spinning. Finally, her signature move is trapping an opponent in guitar strings and playing a quick riff while they are bound. I'm torn where to place her, because her sound abilities could allow her to affect the physical world with a lower visible zone threshold. But her abilities don't quite match Taurus. Nah, she's got to go above Taurus. She'd be like a ghost to you, and she'd be absolutely dominating you. Not like that. Stop. Queen Ophiucha is MegaMan's love interest taken over by an alien snake. She can shoot eye lasers to paralyze her prey, or send little snake buddies to hunt them. Finally, she can slither at enemies, leaving a snail trail of poison. I'm giving her a slight edge on Taurus Fire. Rogue fights with a combination of melee and sword attacks. These include things such as projectile fists, waves of darkness, doing a helm splitter that explodes in dark power, and having his sword turn into a scythe and fight for him. His main strength is his Mu barrier, that can nullify any attack and regenerates when he attacks. When you get through this, he won't flinch to any hits, and through the dark power of being a loner, can skate over any rough terrain. He's a supreme edgelord that can actually kind of back it up. For this reason, he surpasses Harp Note. The paranoic Cygnus Wing has big wings to fly with, but he can also flap some razor-sharp feathers at everyone who is surely out to betray him. He also likes to pretend he's a ballerina and pirouette around the battlefield. Then, he has the only ones he can trust, his children, who he calls quacky lackeys, and who can call to have his back when all of his friends lie to him. I'm dropping him between Taurus and MegaMan because of his irrational paranoia. He's a very careful and very hesitant fighter, which handicaps him. Libra Scales, a rogue teacher, believes everything should be fair and balanced. He slowly teeters about, holding a flame and a splashing scale. Every time a scale bumps the floor, it releases an elemental ghost to rush forward at enemies. He can also channel his Zangief and use his scales for a lariat, or summon giant paperweights in the air to come crashing down. Guys, he's going bad jammers. He'd be terrifying, but not that terrifying with his slow wobbling. When the alien Gemini partners with a split-personality femboy, he becomes the twin-bodied Gemini Spark. Because of this, Gemini Spark is able to tag team with himself. One of the bodies typically rushes in with an Elexor, paralyzing their target, and the other follows up by launching an explosive fist. They can also team up to blast a stream of electricity ahead. Being 2-on-1, that's a big advantage right there. Granted, fighting just one would be preferable to any other wave-changed form, so let's put them out of Queen Ophiucha. Cancer Bubble is kind of just a better Bubble Man EXE, but don't forget, if you ever ended up in a situation where you could fight him, congrats, I think he just became beyond Solar System. Anyway, he likes to float around blowing bubbles, sometimes filled with crabby lackeys. The bubbles can easily suck an enemy up, leaving them a sitting duck. He also sometimes creates a tidal wave that also encases anything it splashes in a bubble. If you did end up getting bubbled, he won't hesitate to throw his boomerang and claws at you. I think I'd put him between Ophiucha and Taurus. So who would you prefer to fight? A Bullman, a Snake Woman, a Crabby Kid, or Wolf Woods? Basically an EM werewolf. None of them. You want to fight the goose geezer that's cuckoo. Yeah, let's just say he's going above Gemini. So he can sick his pack mates on enemies or rush in to claw them up. He can even claw you from a distance, sending cutting shockwaves. Oh, and he can greatly accelerate the moon cycles, and when the moon is full, he makes Osmegasis proud and goes buck wild, moving and attacking even faster. Crown Thunder proves EM aliens can even revive the dead long enough to fight. He fights by sending his ghostly troops out to attack with bows, drills, or mallets, occasionally doing a little jig to build up static to rain down. I think I have to put him a hair under Ophiucha. Dragon Sky is one of the big exceptions to the EM aliens. He likes to laze about, blowing whirlwinds or snorting cherry blossoms to conserve energy, to use in bursts. When he has the energy, he is able to teleport larger distances than most EM beings, and fly around the battlefield. He is also highly resistant to illnesses, and poisons and feels no pain. Could he outclass Duo? No, I don't think so, but I'm pretty sure he takes second from Rogue. Pegasus Magic is another exception, also with trained reflexes and a strong immunity. Unlike his associate, he is always running around the battlefield, flinging ice darts or swords, 3 at a time, and trying to trample his enemies. He can even create a massive cold front to frost over everything in his way. Of course, he can also create a glacier from his magic seal. This guy is running circles around Dragon, and if Duo lost his meteor, might even take top spot. The final member of the trio, Leo Kingdom, is even more aggressive, weaving through the battlefield and pouncing between spitting fireballs everywhere. You even have to watch out for his flaming whip of a tail. For me, this earns him a spot above his brother, Pegasus. This trio is also able to join into Geo and Omegasys' wave change. Green Dragon makes MegaMan invulnerable to poison and allows him to spray razor-sharp leaves forward, and even surround himself in a whirlwind when he gets into the rhythm of battle. Height of Cygnus. Ice Pegasus allows MegaMan to fling Iceman's Ice Slasher to flash freeze enemies, or magically create a glacier, ahead of Green Dragon. Fire Leo gains a flamethrower or a flame laser like the original Cap super move, above Taurus. Andromeda, the Planet Eater, is a weapon originating from the Andromeda Galaxy. As such, it is at least multiplanetary. While we never saw how exactly it destroys planets, we do see it summoning an endless stream of missiles, raining down shooting stars, firing lasers, and distorting space with the impact of its fists and teeth. We do know it has successfully destroyed one planet, Planet AM. So like Duo EXE, we are at casual planet destruction, and I'm giving the edge to Andromeda. Duo is just piloting a big meteor to crash into planets he doesn't like. Andromeda can actually attack planets. The space distortion might put him near universal though, so yeah, anyone scoffing at my assessment of galaxy level minimum for Shooting Star MegaMan, he squeezed out a tight win against this casual destroyer of worlds. Dark Phantom is a mix of a loser and a pimp. So unsurprisingly, his favorite attack is running up and caning his enemies. He can also pirouette so fast his cape can nick anyone nearby, or claw by launching his stretchy third hand from his belly. He can also materialize his third hand from underground and not bother with throwing it. Besides that, occasionally he becomes a phantom and can't get hurt. It's RNG based. This is the biggest loser in Star Force and maybe the easiest boss in the whole Mega Man series. He makes a glorified Goose Man look like a T-Rex. He's also probably Solar System, and that makes me mad. Heck, I'm putting it below Libra, but they are vying. Yeti Blizzard's MO is jumping around, splashing chunks of snow at enemies or landing on their heads. He can also create quakes so intense he causes an avalanche of snow to roll downhill. The avalanche move is a little tempting, but the highest I can go is above Cygnus. Plesio Surf can breathe electricity and swim through the ground with a bit more maneuverability than Dive Man EXE. Aside from that, he can dive underground and try to snack on an enemy or create a tidal wave, washing any debris on top of you, which he can periodically raise to the surface during battle. I'm thinking behind Taurus. As you should expect of a bird or jet like EM Being, Terra Condor can fly and is equipped with laser cannons, though he primarily draws missiles from the ground, and can even unload a full armory. That might sound good, but he's cocky and leaves himself open a lot. For that reason, I'm putting him ahead of Crown Thunder. Hollow is kind of just an electrical magic man. Electricity occasionally surges, rendering him invincible. Instead of standing still and throwing slow fire, he will blast a beam of energy or call down lightning that races targets back and forth. He can even summon viruses long enough to attack. Here's the snag though. He isn't like the other characters. He's a matter wave, which is an EM being designed to always be fully in the visible zone. Yes, his attacks will always hit as hard as they can, but he will always be completely vulnerable. For me, this drags him down closer to Navis and Copybots, so I have to put him above Chaos Lord. He could still probably decimate most of our Earth before we could do anything, but we'd have a slim chance. Kung Fu Kid is a goat, skilled in martial arts and can even create shadows to help him. You'd want to be sure he doesn't eat any grass either, or he will stop at nothing to beat you. Behind Plesio Surf. General Auriga has the same bad strategy as Chargeman. He unflinchingly rolls on in his chariot, sometimes whipping out a steamroller, and always comes with a few soldiers escorting him. This can be a lot of pressure, but is predictable, so I'm putting him ahead of Kung Fu Kid. Winner of the Most Insensitive Name Award, Apollo Flame destroyed the Earth in a hypothetical future, and then had a plan to cross over into the real timeline to destroy Earth there too. Yes, we know they can do this if they start to enter the visible zone. The thing though, is this guy is terrifying. Maybe the hardest Mega Man boss. He has a constantly regenerating fire barrier that eats any non-water damage, and his mere presence causes fire to arc across the ground. He can slide multiple fire devils at enemies at a time, rain down a dense meteor shower, or create and throw a massive ball of fire. That's probably why nobody says anything to him about his name. So I'm actually thinking he should go above Duo and Andromeda. I don't think him getting sent to destroy Earth by his mom is a feat. I think that is as normal to him as it is for you to kick an anthill in the middle of the sidewalk as you walk past. His only weakness is being this insanely broken seems to knock him out and leave him with an exertion hangover for a couple days. So after he destroys your planet, it's going to be a few days before he destroys it in another timeline. Murians are automatons from the lost continent Mu, resembling EM aliens, though they can wave change with aliens. They carry swords and shields, able to use both as you'd expect, and can also release an elemental beam. They go down pretty easily and can be deactivated simply by booping a rune on their chests. So I'm putting them behind the EM aliens. Les Mu. Non, 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 non. Oui, oui, baguette. May there always be snails on your bread. Les Mu is the counterpart of Ramu, and likewise crashed on Earth, leading to the rise of the Mu Empire. While just a physical hunk of matter, it can generate EMs into things like drills, machine guns, and swords, or fire a massive EM laser. But that kind of doesn't matter because he can create Myrians and UMAs, its type of EM alien, allowing it to generate an unlimited number of wave-changed minions. It's unclear if it has any way to propel itself through space, but it's at least planetary with possibly universal potential. Because I have doubts it can move very much, I'm putting it behind Andromeda, who is very mobile. Wood Ninja is a form MegaMan can take after Omegasis eats an artifact recovered from the ruins of the ancient ninja civilization. This grants MegaMan Sharp Shuriken, the ability to substitute and counterattack, and when the EM waves are pumping he can create copies and barrage enemies in Shuriken. I'm thinking this could go above Crown Thunder. It's a modest upgrade. Fire Saurian turns MegaMan into a dinosaur, if Omegasis instead eats a dinosaur skull. As you might expect, dinosaurs don't let pain stop them and can blast lava that splatters on impact like a shotgun. It is also able to charge attacks, especially ones involving fire, and can fire a fiery beam when fired up. I think I have to put this behind its rival, Ninja. Charging is good, but can be a weakness. Yes, in Mega Man canon, ninjas and dinosaurs lived in peace until the Thunder Zerkers went buck wild on everyone else. They were able to string together all of their basic attacks, leaving opponents stun-locked without escape. Their sparking swords could also release a paralyzing bolt, and when they were really feeling it, they could blow up their sword and fight 1 on 10 or more. I have a feeling this will be controversial, but I do think this edges out Ninja. I guess the silver lining is the civilization occasionally intermarried, and Mega Man 2 could double up. But I'm not getting into every combination, it's pretty much whatever two added together. No, we are covering the form achieved when Mega Man creates a peace between the three people. Tribe King. Tribe King can do everything the other three can, plus release flaming, sparking, and naturing beams from his sword. All other attacks are also twice as powerful. When fighting hard, it can even unleash a rainbow beam containing every element. I'm putting this behind Rogue. Star Force 3 allows Mega Man to resonate with enemies he has faced as forms called noise changes. All noise changes require Mega Man to be a noisy fighter, which isn't too hard, so I'm assuming Mega Man has the minimum 50% noise level necessary. However, if he so much as touches anything he is weak to, he loses all his noise. Libra Noise allows him to heal with any cards he uses and specializes in water and fire attacks. In addition, it modifies his charge shot to deal spread damage, and increases his resilience significantly. Below Harp Note. A crabby Mega Man can sync with Cancer to become Cancer Noise. This noise is focused primarily on trapping opponents in bubbles, with a bubbling charge shot that explodes in a cross shape, and the ability to make any water cards extra bubbly. Ahead of Gemini. Gemini Noise allows Mega Man to link two cards to always appear together, paralyze with any sword, and fire a paralyzing fist. Behind Tribe King. No, I'm not joking, this is kinda cracked. Ophiucha Noise is immune to poisons, but can lace its attacks with a poison to trap opponents in a delusion. Its charge shot also bursts and plants grass, below Libra Noise. Wolf Noise can refresh its cards at double speed, swords deal much more damage. It can also claw into the air, releasing a projectile slash. This is a setup that allows him to effectively stun-lock enemies without paralysis, so it edges out Gemini Noise. Cygnus Noise can float above bad terrain, as you might expect. Its charge shot releases a flurry of feathers, and its non-elemental attacks becoming stronger. Above Libra Noise. Taurus Noise is an expert with fire and won't flinch no matter what. Otherwise, like the dinosaur, its fire shot penetrates and sprays. Below Ophiucha Noise. Crown Noise's charge shot can paralyze, its card attacks steal enemies' sight, and it is able to easily call on friends. There's not really a vision here, but it works well enough to surpass Libra Noise. Spade Magnus is not wave changed. He is corrupted with noise while working on a rocket launch. Because of that, he can transform himself into a rocket, and even go underground and pop up beneath his opponent's feet. He can also summon small missiles to provide cover or create a gravity field to lock enemies' feet to the ground before dicing them with his swords. It's unclear if lizards are fully in the visible zone or can force themselves into it partially. If we're going with the latter, which is stronger, I think I'd put him above Ophiucha. Diamond Ice is another noise wizard who creates and uses several blocks of ice as a barrier. She can also flick them a target's way, or blow in an Arctic blast to freeze enemies solid, so she can shatter them with a giant hammer. I'm putting her ahead of Harpnote. Another corrupted wizard, Club Strong, is kind of just a Stone Man EXE that doesn't need to be put down. The moss covering his body spreads, coating wherever he jumps with grassy moss, and sends a tree ahead. Yes, he can also mash opponents with the big club or use it to create tornadoes that fly toward his foes. Finally, he can shake down coconuts that will sap opponents of their health and heal him. His movement is a little predictable, but I see him edging out Spade Magnus. Jack Corvus, as a crow, is able to fly and ignore gravitational fields while generating dark claws to push opponents away. Normal crow stuff. He can also fly up and rain down a barrage from above. His razor-sharp wings can also be used as scythes. While great, I think he only surpasses Club Strong. Corvus Noise is immune to gravity, can fly and fire a flamethrower that creates a gravity field to pin opponents. It also boosts other fire-based attacks. I'm putting it above Libra Noise. Queen Virgo can make it rain or unleash a slithering water dragon. She can also raise water to use as a shield and send it back as a wave if attacked. Finally, she can rush into opponents' faces and rotate the pure light of her virginity around her, which actually hurts a lot. Behind Diamond Ice. Virgo Noise can release a freezing cold wave of water that freezes the ground beneath anything it hits. At the same time, Virgo Noise is unfreezable and can pop any bubble he finds himself in. Above Ophiucha Noise. Acid Ace is a purely synthetic wave change that can boost its power by giving in to the noise and turning black. He's particularly fast and nimble, but otherwise has few standout abilities such as using his jets to tackle opponents or firing a noise laser from his belly. So, Black Ace is falling just after Yeti Blizzard. I'm sure he would have ironed things out and raised his position in Star Force 4. Dread Joker, not the one everyone knows, is similar to his brother Acid Ace. Instead of being as nimble, he's bulky and doesn't react to pain. Though he lacks as many abilities as others, he can manipulate noise to create protective monoliths, including in the air where they could crush opponents. Beyond that, he can blast a big noise laser or teleport into an opponent's face to punch the snot out of them. I'm putting him ahead of Queen Virgo. Moon Destroyer is Apollo Flame's self-proclaimed rival, and I think we need to emphasize the self-proclaimed part. His battle style is making really exaggerated hops, then upon landing either twirling to the side, throwing moon-shaped blades, fast-falling a meteor at an enemy, generating a bunch of moon-shaped shuriken and throwing them at targets, or teleporting nearby to Tatsumaki Senpu Kyaku, them in the face and finish with an unblockable spike kick. He's no Dark Phantom, but unless he's majorly concealing his power level, the highest I'm comfortable putting him is behind Jack Corvus. Sirius is a serious threat. He controls a black hole and travels the cosmos, sucking things in that he finds novel to preserve them forever. You know, since time is hypothesized to slow infinitely the closer you get to a black hole, to the point it is impossible to actually get sucked into one, but time also never stops. So right there, he seems to be immune to black holes. In battle without his black hole, he flies, zipping around, safe and unflinching in his sturdy armor. Beyond that, he has rapidly regenerating barrier walls he can erect to prevent opponents or foes from getting close. He leaves his remote control wings to do the fighting. They are able to release EM blasts, zip around stabbing opponents, or firing lasers, and all four can come together to unleash a devastating miniature black hole jet that obliterates the battlefield and anything on it. Without his black hole, I'd put him behind Apollo Flame. As powerful as he is, his attacks are a little slow, and he never takes combat seriously. With his black hole, he's beyond Apollo Flame, and I'm ranking him with it, because I felt Duo EXE's Meteor was central to his powers. Same story for the black hole. The draconic Crimson Dragon is the mind of Meteor G, a ball of noise, chaotic energy that can disrupt and damage electronic devices and beings. As the mind of the whole Meteor, Crimson Dragon can manipulate noise into crystals, missiles, extra hands, you name it. It can also reformat EM things to their most basic form. Its most powerful attack is breathing intense crimson, crystalline noise ahead of it. Yeah, this is going behind Andromeda. While I don't see a win condition for humanity, Meteor G can only really return us to the Stone Age and make us confused and dopey. Unless, like, its core can wander the surface of the Earth and is in the visible zone. If MegaMan is subjected to enough noise, he can stabilize it into either a form called Black Ace or Red Joker. Both forms double the potency of any cards used and maximize MegaMan's Buster into a powerful machine gun. Furthermore, they replace his folder with an optimized folder packed with powerful and illegal cards. Red Joker also protects MegaMan from any interference or poison, while numbing him to pain. When he gets into the rhythm of battle, he can raise the area around him with a crimson noise laser. Black Ace instead can fly and teleport in front of enemies to attack them. Its ultimate move involves trapping enemies within a pseudo-black hole, so it can cleave them with a sword and leave them heavy with increased gravity. I'm putting both behind Apollo Flame, with Joker having the edge. Lastly, we have Rogue Noise. If MegaMan pushes all his friends away and becomes an edgelord, he can synchronize his frequency with Rogue, gaining the regenerating Moo barrier. It boosts sword cards with paralysis and disrupts lock-on systems. I'm thinking behind base Shooting Star MegaMan, behind even Jammers because Link Power is so much better than any of that. This is an active downgrade. It turns you into as much of a weenie as edgy losers usually are. Wait, there's one more? Oh yes, the strangest character, Kelvin Stellar, was changed to an EM being, and this somehow made him insanely strong. He can fly through space at near light speeds like the other characters, but found Meteor G and fought Crimson Dragon to a stalemate for years. Somehow. I have no feats to show you, but the devs established this as a feat, so I have to put this behind Crimson Dragon. Safe to say, if this guy wave changed with Apollo or Sirius, he'd be multiversal. With that, we've come to an end to scaling the MegaMan series. I thought the absurdity of attempting this would be funny, but even I didn't expect there would be this much to go over. That being said, there will be more videos over MegaMan, RPGs, and other core gaming series, and if there's enough demand, I'll even come back to rank the viruses and robot masters individually, etc. Oh, also, I'm releasing this tier list in the description if you want to make your own ranking. Be sure to tag me in your videos.